ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Kick off summer with a beautiful new kitchen designed just for you. Right now, Colonial Marble and Granite is offering 20% off all kitchen countertops, marble, granite, or quartz, and your choice of a free 10-year sealer or free edge upgrade. Plus, 65% off all exotic stones. Let the sun shine in and start planning your dream kitchen today. Stop by a Colonial Marble and Granite area showroom to see their amazing selection of products, or make an appointment for a free in-home design consultation. Visit colonialmarble.net today for details.
For all of you who love to cook Italian, here's a mouth-watering message from Cento.
Baked lasagna, manicotti, clam sauce with linguine, chicken parmigiana, and tuna capellini, gnocchi alla rosa sauce, pomodoro frittata, pappardelle, perciatelli, pasta caponata.
How do you give those dishes authentic old-world flavor? Authentic Italian cooking begins with Cento. Cento for taste that sings. Cento. Trust your family with our family.
In an instant, a normal lunch can turn into every parent's nightmare. Every 5 days, a child dies from choking, making it the 4th leading cause of accidental death. LifeVac was created to ensure that no parent has to go through such a terrible loss. LifeVac is the easiest, safest, and most effective way to clear an airway and save the life of your loved ones. To date, it's saved the lives of more than 600 choking victims. Go to lifevac.net today and use the code NEWS to save 20% on your purchase.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Thursday, June 1st. It is indeed Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube. With you for the next 4 hours as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number. Twitter and Instagram. The radio station at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, Kayal. Dawn Stenzelin with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Torenzo, our associate producers. May is in the books. And June, come on down. Dawn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy June 1st.
Yes. Gregory?
Yeah, buddy. Let's do this again.
Let's do it again. And we'll just do what we always do month after month after month. We'll roll the calendar over, and we'll keep racking up the audience. May's in the books.
Yep.
I thought maybe Kayal and Company would fall off a cliff, take a nosedive.
Never.
Nah. Up, and away we go. It's all right. We'll do it again in June, and we'll smash May, and we'll just keep doing the same thing over and over and over. That's the goal here, folks. Oh, we got a lot to get to this morning. 3 little battles before one big war. That'll be the theme of the Big Take this morning, featuring Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Ron DeSantis. Also, Chris Christie says, I'm going to ratchet it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the only guy that can gas bag like Trump can.
Oh, boy.
Can what?
Good luck with that, pal. Chris Christie, I don't think he's done enough running lately, if you know what I mean.
There's got to be a reason he's getting into this race, because he knows he can't win.
I'm the only guy that can bloviate like Donald. That DeSantis guy, that Tim Scott guy, he's too nice.
Oh, boy.
Females running. They've got no shot.
Yeah, he's going to be a giant shield for Ron DeSantis.
He's just going to take all the bullets.
Yep.
That's the theme in Philadelphia, though, by the way. If you've listened to Dawn's News, we take a lot of bullets in the city.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So we got that to get to this morning. AM radio congressional hearings coming up in just about 6 days. Very interesting there.
I can't believe it's going to be a congressional hearing.
Yes. Well, as they said, and we'll give you the details later, it'll be a learning experience where there could be some legislation. We'll see about that.
Okay.
And then also ESPN says, you know what, we're going to raise a flag today across our campus in Bristol, Connecticut.
A flag?
Yeah, a flag. The trans flag.
What is the trans flag?
Oh,
The Trans Am?
the Pontiac Grand Am?
Great cars, yeah.
Or Transformers? Transformers.
That's right.
More than meets the eye.
Yes, because ESPN says, you know what, why raise a flag for a championship of a sports team when you can raise the trans flag, which apparently is a slight variation to the rainbow flag.
Well, should the people who want the rainbow flag be pissed?
I think
Yeah.
so. I think we need more flag diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
This doesn't feel very
Flags.
inclusive.
Exactly.
My goodness.
Flag and diversity.
Yes. This is going to be a good show today, folks, as it usually is. But before we get to all the nonsense, let's get to the local nonsense that's happening in our great city. Here's Dawn Stenzel with the news.
Good morning. This June 1st, 59 degrees in a moment. Full forecast. I'll tell you how hot it's going to get. We do have a Philadelphia police officer has been released from the hospital, sent home to recover after being shot during a deadly standoff in Kensington last night. Police saying that he's 27 years old, married, and assigned to the 24th District. We don't have any word of future or more word yet on the identities of the injured officer. We know that his hand was shot, so we don't know the extent of that, but he has been released from the hospital early this morning. And we don't have word of the other man who apparently had tried to grab an officer's gun or taser, and that led to, after the standoff, that led to the multiple shots being fired. This morning, Philadelphia police investigating this triple shooting that we are learning new details about just outside Temple University Hospital's emergency room. So police are saying that the victims had been standing out on the sidewalk just outside the entrance to the ER when somebody opened fire. 3 people shot. And we know that they are in stable condition. All 3 of those victims in stable condition. It was a drive-by shooting, and so that happened early this morning.
You know,
right outside the ER.
Sometimes timing is the ideal thing in life.
Just going to say that.
Like, I don't know that there's ever a good time to be shot, but if
Yeah.
you're going to get shot, at least get shot in front of an emergency room.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, my question is, because sometimes police, if there is a perpetrator, let's say there's a suspect or what have you, and they're inside the ER, you'll see police officers inside an ER because they have to stand with maybe an accused criminal. So was this, who was this driving by in this dark colored or maybe a dark blue 4-door sedan and driving, who was that opened fire? Was it somebody that knew that somebody was taken to the ER that was inside and these people were outside waiting for somebody to recover?
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't. It's obviously not random.
Smells fishy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but police examining more than 40 of those spent shell casings all over the street. And by the way, bullet holes, on the side of the hospital building. So thank goodness there were no doctors or anybody in and out of that area. But
bullet holes in the building. It's a good look for the building.
Oh, my goodness. So firefighters battling a huge fire at a recycling center in Philadelphia. That happened yesterday afternoon. It's Martin Recycling, and they are investigating this thing. This is a huge fire there, 3-alarmer yesterday afternoon, and a lot of tires, stinky, and so they are investigating that one. But I don't see any injuries, thank goodness, but it did force some road closures going on. And yes, just the headline, the House passing the bill to raise the debt ceiling. So now that's going to go to the Senate for a vote, and a lot of consternation over that one. We'll talk about it, no doubt. Our Phillies, we got to win this one today just to save ourselves from embarrassment.
Could be
so that we don't get swept.
Could be a long summer, Dawn.
Well,
maybe not. It's June. We always do better in June.
I know.
Do we? Yes. If this is any indication, they'll win big today. I think it's a 110 game
Yeah.
Yes.
this afternoon. they'll win big today, and then they'll say, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Everything's good. And then
down the hall, they're saying, man, how many days until Eagles camp?
Yeah. Should Rob Thompson be fired?
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
610.
It's amazing how soon we forget. But, yeah, lost to the Mets 4-1 and 110 game today, which tees us up to talk about the T-Mobile Weather Center forecast in the 50s. So this trend of chilly overnights, cool, crisp mornings, bright, sunny skies, a beautiful sunrise this morning. So we are already warming up. Today it's going to be 88 degrees today for your June 1st, bright, sunny skies. Tomorrow, 93 degrees, 93 for your Friday. Woo!
Wow.
A little bit cooler for the weekend. Saturday, 71 with mostly cloudy skies. Sunday, 77 with the sun coming back. And ditto for the next Monday and Tuesday. By the way, next Tuesday, Kamala Harris comes to Philadelphia. Mark your calendar.
Probably the first day it'll rain in the city in a while as well.
That's your T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:10 on this Thursday morning. Let's get to a big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
The big take this morning, 3 little battles within one big war. It's only June 1st, 2023, but the presidential election is heating up. Granted, we are far away from election season, but 3 critical battles are currently being fought within one big war. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Ron DeSantis are all dealing with major obstacles as they get set for what could be one of the most wild races of all time. Let's start with Joe. It's obvious that Biden is trying to create a sequel here. In 2020, he campaigned from his basement during the pandemic. Now, he's not going to be able to do that again in 2024. The COVID-19 emergency came to an end last month, and Joe is now avoiding a different debate, that being a primary with RFK Jr. Republicans view it to be very weak. Many Democrats know it's weak, and so does Hollywood, apparently. Remember actor James Vanderbeek? Of course you do. Take a listen.
Save what? You got the opportunity of a lifetime. You
Playing
treat it like a
football at
joke.
West Canaan is not the opportunity of a lifetime.
Your attitude's wrong. Your tone of voice is wrong. This is your opportunity
For
here.
you, playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life.
That was James Vanderbeek in the role of John Moxon back in Varsity Blues. He also went on to fame in the TV series Dawson's Creek, and apparently he's also very opinionated about politics and getting on the debate stage. Here's Vanderbeek on his Instagram speaking out about Joe Biden and his unwillingness to debate RFK Jr. and others. Take a listen.
Cannot get over the fact that the Democratic National Committee is saying there will not be a debate to decide the nominee for president. Are you kidding me? Over an 80-year-old man who, if he lives, will be the oldest sitting president in the history of the country? And if he doesn't live, has a vice president whose approval rating is worse than his? This guy is obviously declining mental faculties. You're putting him up in front of a podium with flashcards telling him who to call on and what the questions are going to be. And you're telling us there's no debate? What about the will of the people?
At this moment, RFK Jr. is definitely a thorn in Biden's side as 2024 polls show that Kennedy is holding on to a sizable chunk of Dem voters. In the latest polling numbers, he is garnering 16% of the Democratic primary vote. At this moment, the DNC has told us there will be no debates. Then we get to Ron DeSantis. There are so many questions that need to be answered for DeSantis. How does he ever shrink the major gap between he and Donald Trump when it comes to the current polls? Can he and will he recover from the Twitter Spaces debacle? And if somehow he gets past Trump, which I highly doubt, the question is, could he beat Joe Biden? DeSantis held his first rally of his 2024 GOP presidential campaign on Tuesday, and during a post-speech presser, he slammed Donald Trump as having moved left and became, quote, detached from reality. Here's DeSantis on Trump. Listen.
So you talked about changing your tone a little bit with former President Trump. I don't believe you mentioned him here by name tonight, but does this mean you're going to be a bit more aggressive with campaigning against him?
So look, I'm going to respond to attacks. I mean, if you say Cuomo did a better job with COVID than Florida did, first of all, that's not what he used to say. This is like new. Like 6 months ago, he would have never said that, right? He used to say how great Florida was. Hell, his whole family moved to Florida under my governorship. Are you kidding me? So some of this stuff, I think, is, look, if someone is saying that, I am gonna counterpunch. I'm gonna fight back on it. I'm gonna focus my fire on Biden, and I think he should do the same. He gives Biden a free pass. I'm focusing on Biden. That's my focus. But when I hear something like that, it is so detached from reality. You know how I know? Because I would have people come up to me in Florida during COVID in tears, hug me, perfect strangers, say, thank you, Governor. I escaped from these lockdown jurisdictions. You saved my bacon. I'm here in Florida. My kids are in school. You name it. This was personal to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And to flippantly say that you should have done New York, we have no, I think, we obviously have to respond about that. It's also the case that, we're proud of what we've been able to do in our state. We won the biggest election landslide that Florida Republicans have ever won. And did he ever say anything like, attaboy, good job? No, he attacked me 3 days before the midterm election.
But the biggest issue facing DeSantis may not be Trump. In fact, it might be history. The state of Florida has never sent a politician to the White House. Per Politico, I give you the following. No Florida politician has ever been elected president. A half dozen have ran in the last 50 years, essentially the period in which the state evolved from political backwater to electoral powerhouse. But all have ended up in the same place, dead in the water long before the nominating convention. Most never even made it past New Hampshire's first in the nation primary. The curse of Florida man, and to date, every Florida presidential candidate has been male, lingers despite the fact that the state is an ideal proving ground for a White House bid. Winning statewide office in Florida requires campaigning in 2 time zones, 10 TV markets, and across 66,000 square miles. It is home to more than 22 million people, many of them arrivals from other states, which gives Florida politicians exposure to a wide range of political customs and styles. It's a curious predicament for the nation's 3rd largest state. Florida does have some White House connections, of course. Presidents have retired there. They've owned vacation homes there. Trump himself moved there midway through his first term as president, changing his official residence from Manhattan to Palm Beach. But in the nearly 180 years since Florida was admitted to the Union, it has neither produced a president nor had one born within its borders. And that also includes Andrew Jackson. It is the lone state among the nation's top 10 most populous that have never sent anyone to the White House. Texas, which became a state 9 months after Florida, can point to 3 presidents, 4 if you count Dwight Eisenhower. DeSantis has said Florida is where woke goes to die. Perhaps Florida is where POTUS dreams go to die. We will see if DeSantis can buck the historical trend of failure for Florida, but right now the polls say it's not looking good. And finally, the last battle within the war is with Donald Trump and the battles that he is fighting before even getting to wage war against Biden in a rematch of 2020. He's already dealing with legal battles ranging from Manhattan to Mar-a-Lago to Atlanta, but now he's in a mode of going after anyone who used to work for him and blasting them for their lack of loyalty. See, politics is dirty. Politics are about fighting, and nobody is a bigger fighter than Donald J. Trump. And loyalty means the world to Trump, as Kayleigh McEnany and Ron DeSantis have recently found out. But people are defending Trump, such as Richard Grenell, who spoke out in support of Donald Trump's attack on White House press secretary turned Fox News host Kayleigh McEnany. Grenell, who served as U.S. ambassador to Germany and briefly as the acting director of national intelligence in the Trump administration, defended Trump's attacks on McEnany, calling her disloyal and critical of the president that they both served under. On Wednesday, Grenell responded to Mark Thiessen, former speechwriter to President George W. Bush, who bashed Trump and called McEnany one of the best people to serve in his administration. Grenell said the following on his Twitter: "With all due respect, Mark, Kayleigh has been critical of Trump for a while now. She's grown more vocal with her attacks, which is her right. But why can she be disloyal and critical of Trump, but he can't? As someone who has been in politics for decades, you know loyalty is key, especially when your entire career is made because of the opportunity somebody gave you. She's on Fox because of Trump. She's written popular books because of Trump. You've been loyal to the guy who helped launch your career, that being George Bush. Have you agreed with every decision Bush has made, or have you just decided to be loyal to Bush? I haven't seen you once criticize Bush. Grinnell makes some very good points there in defense of Trump. But Biden, DeSantis, Trump, they're all ready for the presidential race of a lifetime, all fighting the little battles along the way before the war begins. Well, Trump and DeSantis are. Joe, he's just content to eat his chocolate chip ice cream in his basement and have somebody wake him up once the results are in. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
Our big take on this Thursday morning. If you want to jump in with your reaction, your thoughts, 855-839-1210. The phone number, 855-839-1210. You can chime in on Twitter or Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. And, of course, be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community on YouTube. Watch, subscribe, like us, youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. We'll come back, get some thoughts and reaction to that, and also more of the battles that DeSantis and Trump are fighting, and how Chris Christie believes he could be the guy to go blow for blow with Donald Trump. All of that's still ahead this morning as we get it going here on a Thursday. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axes...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/get-early to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
SimpliSafe was named Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors, indoor and outdoor HD cameras, and hazard detectors are powered by live 24/7 professional monitoring, so you get emergency help fast. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you want a beautiful home that's easy to maintain? I've been telling you about a great company that does just that. John Gilgee is here to tell you in his own words. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield, reminding you that spring is here and Rhino Shield is ready to help you paint your home for the last time. Our permanent exterior house paint is not ordinary paint. It's a ceramic house coating that goes on like paint and looks like paint, but is guaranteed for 25 years. If your home's exterior isn't looking as good as you'd like, Rhino Shield is the solution you've been looking for. It's affordable because you only have to paint one last time, and it protects your home with a durable and waterproof coating that goes on any exterior surface. Find out why so many of your neighbors are choosing the permanent paint solution from Rhino Shield by calling to schedule your free estimate today at 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-744-6699.
Enjoy exclusive after-hours access to America's most historic prison all summer long. Night tours. Summer Twilight returns to Eastern State Penitentiary select evenings from May 25th through September 4th. Explore the historic cell blocks with a self-guided audio tour narrated by actor Steve Buscemi. Grab a drink in the Fairchance Beer Garden featuring Triple Bottom Brewing Company and take part in special hands-on activities and events. Learn more and get your tickets now at easternstate.org.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Joel as Mr. Softy.
A creamier, streamier, soft ice cream. It comes from Mr. Softy. Melts in a biggest spot like me. They call me Mr. Softy. Almost run out of breath. Ice cream makes me tired.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra, July 15th in Ocean City, New Jersey, and July 22nd in North Wildwood. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Hey, Cherry Hill. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker, play 1210 WPHT.
.25 as we welcome you back in, Kayal and Company on a Thursday morning, June 1st, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can listen to us in the Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube. Coming up in just about 25 minutes, we're going to have a discussion and a little quick conversation, perhaps a debate about what we will officially brand and name the YouTube chat for the show. Because Greg Stocker was getting some correspondence from the community yesterday in regards to the Kayal and Company comment community and what exactly we should name it.
Yeah, a lot of people have opinions on it.
I know.
Shocking, I know.
Very interesting.
But I think we have to put an end to it, to the debate, and come up with a name once and for all. And I think...
You know what? I'm going to be like a Democrat. We're not going to debate this.
Okay.
How about Yo Kayal?
Yo Kayal.
Like Yo Kayal.
Yo Kayal. Well, I've heard that. I've heard it my whole life.
Because it's YouTube.
Yo Kayal, you're an idiot.
Oh, you know
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a play on
I like that.
You Kayal.
You Kayal, but Yo.
We'll put that in the suggestion box, amongst others. That'll get like 1% of the vote, like Chris Christie.
Yo Kayal.
Yo Kayal. Yo Angela. Little Tony Danza it for you. So let's get to a couple of the dramatic things that are going on with some of these candidates. You've got Chris Christie in the news. Florida and Ron DeSantis again getting attacked for another book ban that the media has totally slanted and taken out of context. And then apparently there's audio tapes of Trump and the country of Iran that we'll get to in a moment. But before we get to Ron and Iran, let's get to Chris Christie. This guy, you know, it's interesting because I'm reading this from the Inquirer, and the headline is, he's ready to turn up the heat on Trump in GOP primary. Tough-talking Chris Christie is running again. And, yeah, they go on to say that, well, you know, he probably has nothing to lose at this point, and it's different than it was in years past, which I guess is technically correct. But this is one of the biggest wastes of time. This is actually more of a waste of time than Mike Pence or Vivek Ramaswamy. You know, at least Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, I think, have some future as potential vice presidents and being the running mate on a ticket. But what exactly does Chris Christie accomplish other than getting talking heads to talk about it and people in the print media to write 750 words about it? That's what I would love to know, because you look at this field, and Trump is the big bully on the block, right? We all get that. DeSantis is deemed to be the biggest threat of the bunch, yet he's 40 points behind. So he's already blown out, and he's, quote, the biggest threat. You know, you've got Nikki, who I like. You've got Tim, who's the optimistic, positive. I'm going to put a nice little spin on the future of the Republican Party in this nation. And I like Tim Scott, but he's got no shot. Vivek's nothing more than an 8-minute soundbite on Fox News every other day. He's been on every show possible. And then here's Christie, and I think they look at Christie, or at least the public and the media will say, well, he's got no shot, but he'll at least get in the ring. And unlike DeSantis, who will only respond with jabs, Chris Christie will try to go in there and throw a haymaker, except he's probably going to trip over his feet in the ring and catch an uppercut from Trump, and then he'll be knocked to the wayside by the end of round one. So I don't know what you guys make of this for the two-term former governor of New Jersey, but to me, he's nothing more than a guy who's going to flap his gums. I see no substance. I see no chance that this guy even resonates with anybody. And I don't have anything against the guy. I'm just keeping it real.
On one hand, okay, for real, I think that ultimately, there are many out there, and I heard a professor saying, oh, he has no sense of self-awareness. This is all ego. But think about Merrick Garland and the weaponization of our government. I think he's going for United States Attorney General.
Okay.
And how many times have we heard him speak, and we hosted events with, and he's captivating, when we see him and meet him, and he's been on the shows, and he talks a good talk. He's impressive. He always tells you how he was the U.S. attorney in New Jersey before being governor, et cetera, et cetera.
He wears that with a badge of honor.
Yes, he does. He's proud of that. But I think that ultimately he wants to figure out who he can buddy up to, and it's not going to be Trump because he had his opportunity to be in the Trump administration. Never happened.
Right.
And so I think that my guess is he will buddy up to the Bushes and as well DeSantis, and hope that he would be the next United States Attorney General.
So he's going to talk a good game. He's, in theory, the only guy that can verbally spar and joust with Trump, and it's all for the sake of being the Attorney General, not under Donald Trump. It seems like a lot of work to put in for a relatively, and I'm not dismissing Attorney General. It's a legit job. It's
it's a big job.
It's a huge job, especially after what we've been through. The next, U.S. Attorney General who replaces Merrick Garland. Think about how much he was just in front of the congressional hearings and lied through his teeth and all that good, allegedly. But the next administration and the next U.S. Attorney General would be high profile, would be somebody to say, we're here to clean up the past administration. But I'm not saying that's what he's going for, but I think that he maybe is thinking, okay, Trump and DeSantis will somehow, what are the odds? But will somehow, take each other out, and then he'll be there to, clean up. I don't know. He doesn't even show up.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
As you said in the polls.
Yeah,
so,
he doesn't show up.
No.
I don't show up in the polls. I don't show up on the treadmill. I don't show up. And meanwhile,
but he shows up on the debate stage, and we saw him as a Trump ally.
Do you think if they do debate, do you think Trump gets personal with Christie? And,
I think absolutely.
And brings his weight into question?
Well, as far as the way, I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Larry put out, the other day was like...
Trump's no featherweight either.
Yeah, I know, but Christie is... Christie is...
He's had a few tasty cakes.
Wow.
Larry put out a poll the other day, or maybe it was yesterday we were talking about him. He's like, how soon before January 1st? 98% said it'll be before January 1st that Trump says the F word. Fat, calling him fat.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely. But I think the other side of it is Chris Christie is the one on that stage who can get under Trump's skin. He knows him well. Remember, he was the one who met with him in Bedminster and helped him with debate prep before that disastrous debate with Joe Biden.
It'll be interesting. I think, obviously, there's only, I think, one guy that can win on the Republican side. It's Trump. And I think only Biden can win on the other side. But the other characters are very interesting.
You're completely discounting DeSantis now.
At this point, yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All because of polls.
Well, it's common. He hasn't gotten off to the best of starts. Twitter Spaces, even the Iowa stuff the last 2 days. He makes a few good comments, but it's just. And look, I'm not trying to get caught up in the sizzle versus the substance. I think from a substance standpoint, DeSantis is great. He's got the policies. He's got the track record. But for whatever reason, Americans want the bravado. They want the soundbite. And until he learns,
no, they want the results, Nick. They want peace and prosperity again.
And I guarantee you, they'll still vote Trump. Well, that's the thing. And this is going to be a theme moving forward. I'm of the belief that only DeSantis can beat Biden. I think Trump is dead man walking against Biden, and I've said that for a while on this show. And you have to ask there's going to be a moment in time if you are a diehard Trump supporter, and I'm talking about the guy who's got Donald Trump as his Twitter picture on his Twitter page. You're going to have to ask yourself the real honest question: can Trump beat Biden? If you don't believe that's possible, then you need to go for the second best option, which would be DeSantis. Now, he might not get you all excited and the hair doesn't stand up on your arms, but if the guy can win and it's about policy and results, like Dawn, you just said, that might be the guy. But right now, he's getting crushed, and that's the odd roadblock. He can't beat Trump, yet I think he can beat Biden. Yet I feel like Trump can obviously crush DeSantis, but I just don't think Trump's ever going to get back in. They won't allow it to happen.
By the way, do we know Biden is going to be the nominee?
No, we don't.
I'm just
and
saying,
RFK's got 16% right now.
Well, it's not going to be RFK, but I think at this point on June 1st at 6:35 in the morning, saying that Joe Biden is going to be the nominee for the Democrats, I don't think that's a sure thing.
Okay. If I had to place a wager,
what if it's neither? What if it's neither Trump nor Biden? How about that?
A lot can happen in a year and a half.
Exactly.
A year and a half away.
Joe could die at some point. I'm not being like a jerk when I say that. Like, it's legit possible.
So could Trump.
Yes.
They're both of
so
that
could
age.
any one of us.
Right.
We live in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no, but it's more likely that a 78-year-old or an 80-year-old may die than a 44-year-old, as Ron DeSantis is.
Yeah.
Or however old Kamala is.
Yeah.
God help us all if that.
I just think that it is way too early to sit here and say that DeSantis has no shot in hell.
Okay.
Because people were discounting Biden
I agree.
in 2020.
And 2022 polls were terrible.
He came into South Carolina, won South Carolina, and then swept.
Yep.
He swept the primaries after that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no looking back. So DeSantis could win Iowa, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
But if he gets the momentum, the big mo at the right time, it's like a sports team.
And it could be at this point. I mean, Trump and DeSantis could both be dead man walking. And this could be a guarantee for the Dems, unless you can flip some of these states that are considered toss-ups.
There is no if Joe Biden is the nominee, there is no momentum. There's nobody excited to go vote for Joe Biden.
No, of course not. They do it out of spite. They do it out of they hate Trump.
I don't know
DeSantis.
I don't know if you get that in 2024.
I would hope not.
I don't think you get that in 2024
because he certainly hasn't done much accomplishment-wise to garner re-election. But
I mean, you played James Vanderbeek, who obviously is a Democrat. I think he speaks for many, and I can't believe I'm saying Dawson speaks for many people, but he does. He speaks for many. And by the way, one issue with the Big Take. People know him from Varsity Blues. No, they don't.
Things change, Mox.
They know him from Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, that's if you're a 17-year-old girl back in 1998. Yeah, sure. If you're my wife in high school, having a crush over James Vanderbeek. I just love the fact that James Vanderbeek goes postal on politics on his Instagram. And by the way, he's aged terribly. If you were watching that clip on YouTube for the show this morning, I don't know how old he is, but he looks 20 years older than whatever his age is.
That's not fair to
He looks like death.
That's not fair to the people who grow up in the spotlight, because everybody remembers them when they're 17, 18, 19, 20, 25.
Such a hard life they have.
No, when everybody looks great.
Yeah.
Because you can eat, drink, do whatever you want and still look like a model.
Just
when
like
you're
me.
When you're 40, that it doesn't always hold up.
I'll be 40 in a couple of months.
Well, I'm just saying. So,
right.
But the point was that James Vanderbeek, I think, speaks for a lot of Democrats who are not excited that we're just going to crown Joe Biden the next nominee.
Can you imagine how painful the debate would be, though, between RFK with his voice issue? He's got vocal cord dysphonia. Yeah. And Joe just, losing his train of thought or, Joe being Joe, that would be like an epic train wreck on live television. As great as the Republican primaries and debates would be with Trump and Christie and DeSantis and anybody else in the mix. And then you look at the two Democrats and you're like, wait a minute, that's the best that they have? And they're considered the runaway favorite for a re-election in 2024? That would be staggering. Which, by the way, tonight, Trump will be on with Hannity for another town hall.
No.
So that's coming up at 9 o'clock tonight. For those that are interested in watching Trump and Hannity.
There's a hard-hitting interview.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll have some thoughts on that tomorrow morning for sure. 855-839-1210. From Chris Christie and Trump to DeSantis, this is what the media loves to do. The media claims now that a Florida school banned another famous book, but school officials are saying it's not true. So the media is claiming that a Miami area school banned a book containing the famous poem read at Joe Biden's inauguration. But Miami-Dade County Public Schools say it's not true. So numerous headlines from national outlets have outright claimed that Amanda Gorman's book, The Hill We Climb, which contains the poem she read at Biden's inauguration, was banned from a school library in Miami. And all the left-wing propaganda publications ran with the word ban and ran with this as fact. The Associated Press headline, Amanda Gorman's poem for Biden's inauguration banned by Florida school. The Los Angeles Times, Amanda Gorman on her inauguration poem being banned from Miami school. I am gutted. USA Today, Florida school blocks younger students from reading Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb poem. MSNBC headline, Florida school bans Amanda Gorman poem over one parent's CRT fears. Rolling Stone, Florida school bans Amanda Gorman's inaugural The Hill We Climb poem. Politico headline, Florida school limits access to Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem after parental complaint. So they all fall in line, and they're all wrong. So here's the truth. It's true that a parent filed a complaint about the book or the poem, The Hill We Climb, and it's true that officials at Bob Graham Education Center, a K-8 school in Miami Lakes, took action in response to the complaint. But the book was not banned. Neither was it removed from the library. Instead, all that happened was the book was merely moved to a different section of the school's media center. Quote, no literature, book, or poem has been banned or removed, said Miami-Dade County Public School spokesperson Elmo Lugo. Quote, it was determined at the school that The Hill We Climb is better suited for middle school students, and it was shelved in the middle school section of the media center as opposed to the elementary school section of the media center. The book remains available in the media center. The parent who initiated the complaint told the Miami Herald that, quote, she is not for eliminating or censoring any books. She only wants library materials to be age appropriate. See, this is what the left does. This is what all the woke propaganda machines do, is they take something completely out of context, they throw a nasty narrative and label to it, and they slant it hard to the left, as Dawn always says. So, again, it's not, and this is the common theme with conservatives, right? It's, we're not trying to ban this or block that or shut that down. In a lot of cases, all we are trying to do is focus on what's appropriate for kids and at what point in their life. It's like the same thing with the trans movement. Not against trans people. Go live your life. Having a surgery for a 12-year-old? Not having it. We're not opposed to trans athletes competing in sports, but not at the expense of biological females. So once again, this is one of these battles that conservatives have to fight. The Republican Party has to fight. Ron DeSantis, it's his state, Miami-Dade County. He has to fight that. And it's this the sheer volume of outlets out there. Washington Post, New York Times, on down the list of every outlet we just read with all of those headlines. It's almost like they're all in cahoots together, isn't it? It's like this, joint effort to slander the right when all this thing was about was, hey, no, I don't think a third grader should be reading this. Let's save it for 6th and 7th grade. It shouldn't surprise us at this point, but this is the stuff that you have to fight every day if you're a Republican. So I figured we would share that one with you as well. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. And then lastly, Trump caught on tape admitting possession of classified documents. I'm very suspect of this. Here's the headline. Former President Donald Trump was recorded in the summer of 2021. So this is 6, 7, 8 months after being out of the White House, acknowledging, quote, he held onto a classified Pentagon document about a potential attack on Iran. Jake Tapper broke the news on CNN on his show yesterday and brought in Paula Reed to offer additional details on her reporting. Reed says that, quote, during this time, Trump was in the habit of having his aides record any conversations with journalists, writers, or people working on books, which I think is a very smart and savvy move by Trump. Quote, now, sources tell us that on this tape, Trump says that he has a classified Pentagon document describing a possible attack on Iran. We're also told that you can hear people rustling. It appears that he might be waving something around, though it's unclear if he's weaving this document and that he's referring to, or if he's waving something else, she tells Jake Tapper on CNN. And they are trying to argue on CNN, which again is why they stink and they get no ratings, that this apparently undercuts the argument Trump has been making that he declassifies everything. As it, quote, indicates, Trump understood that he retained classified material after leaving the White House, according to multiple sources familiar with the investigation. There's two things that stand out to me with this. Number one, the timing. Keep in mind, Trump, Biden, classified documents, multiple investigations. And then number two, I'm going to get really, really conspiracy theory deep here. At some point in time, I think, you know, I'm not a big fear mongerer for artificial intelligence.
Oh no, you're not going to do this, are you? You're not going to.
If there's ever going to be a president that gets smeared with the capabilities of artificial intelligence, aka doctoring things up to attack somebody, the betting favorite would have to be Trump. Okay, absolutely have to be Trump. Now, I don't know anything about this story other than what I'm reading. But I just, you know, it goes along in the long line of everything lining up to go after this guy as he's making his bid and his run in 2024. So it's now the summer of 2023. Where was this 2 years ago? Where was this a year ago? Where was this 6 months ago?
Well, just because it came to light now doesn't mean that they haven't had it in their possession for a while.
I'm just pontificating here.
And I get it. I'm
just thinking out loud.
Okay.
Just thinking out loud.
So I always look at how others report on it, just a media angle. So the ABC News says there are media reports the Justice Department prosecutors obtained an audio recording. They go on to say CNN reported it, but they're very careful to say media reports claim this, CNN claims this, but they are saying that Justice Department prosecutors reportedly obtained the actual audio recording.
And, you know, it's interesting about, you know, this possible attack on Iran. It's almost like as if they're trying to make it sound like, you know, Trump wanted to do this while he was in office, or at least that's the kind of the slant I feel like they're going down. Like under Trump, it was nothing but peace and prosperity. You know, I think Donald Trump, from a wartime concept as president, with one of the most unmatched records of all time. I mean, like we've always said, none of this stuff, all the stuff that we were told would happen under Trump is happening under Joe Biden. So I read a story like this, and, you know, it's just, I get my back up a little bit because I got to look at it from the angle of, once again, here we go. And let's just add this to the list with Mar-a-Lago, Manhattan, Alvin Bragg, Atlanta. What else can we throw in there? Well, as Joe Pesci said in My Cousin Vinny, is there any more stuff that we could pile on to the outcome of this case?
If this report is true, the timing on this, he will be indicted for this. There's no question in my mind. So I don't know. This is the timing of all of this is you know, going into an election year. It is, you know, this, if he does get indicted for this, the trial or whatever probably won't be in this election cycle, but
I think it's all a waste of time.
Yeah, I think Greg is right. There's you get this weird feeling about this where why now? And CNN is careful. Even in CNN's reporting, they're saying we didn't listen to the tape. but multiple sources are saying this. It
Well,
just has this weird feel to it that this is something that's being leaked out.
Right.
And there's more to this.
Well, why don't they do some journalism and actually listen to it first?
Because I think that there's a question about the legality if it's a classified document. That you as a journalist, you have to actually be very careful.
And you can't air and broadcast the specifics.
Right. So if you have something, and I don't know, the whole thing, it has a weird vibe. I'm just saying, it has a really weird vibe when I look at how careful.
That's why I bring it up.
Everybody's reporting on it. Just I'm doing the media angle here. Do you know what I'm saying? That whenever something like this happens and they're leaking it out, and somebody's been holding on to this or whatever, I think Greg is right. This is DOJ. This is the administration. They're going after Trump, and there's something more to this.
It's breadcrumbs. They're putting breadcrumbs out of there for something. For something big to happen.
I agree. 855-839-1210, the phone number. All right, and then the last thing we got to get to here in the first hour of the show. So we got an email yesterday. Well, I should say Greg did, who forwarded it along to me. And it was a very brief email. I don't even have the name of the guy that sent the email other than his email address, which I will not read on the air. But he says the subject, comment community. And he says, he's very brief. I mean, this is this is like the opposite of the Philadelphia Inquirer. KC3 said KC cubed, sent from my iPhone.
So let's
break this down.
Let's break this down. The Kayal comment community turning into KC3.
Yes. So when you're on YouTube and you're watching the show, as many of you like to do, you go to youtube.com/@1210WPHT. You do what Stocker says. You hit subscribe. You hit the like button.
Right now. Doing it right now. Do it
Yes.
right now. Do it right now.
Do it right now. And you can have your own chat in the show. And you can just, everybody's in there greeting each other. Good morning, Kayal and Company comments. They're all nice to each other.
I don't think most of them are actually paying attention to the show. They're just chatting with one another, which is fine.
Well, Dorenzo and Valdez aren't paying attention either. So they just joined the crowd. So we've been calling it the Kayal and Company comment community.
Yeah.
And this random emailer said, why don't we just shorten it up and call it KC3 or KCQ?
Yeah, the problem is it reminds me of Kansas City.
Yeah, Dawn. Yeah, Dawn.
Yeah, and not the Eagles.
This is Philadelphia.
Right.
And
Kansas
we are
City
broadcasting from we're in Philadelphia broadcasting live.
Yeah, Kansas City doesn't work here.
Yeah, Kansas City, no.
KC's got no home here. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with the Kayal and Company comment community.
The problem is that we wanted the alliteration with the K's, but then it turns into KKK, and
right.
We can't do that. I know. No, I'm just saying if we want to make it pithy, who used to say that? Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
Keep it pithy.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in.
I don't know. Should we start a hashtag? Can you hashtag on YouTube? Or that'd be too complicated. I don't want to confuse people because people have already figured out the YouTube thing. They're in there. They're chatting. We could call it, Biden's basement for all I care. As long as they're in there and they're watching and they're conversing about Greg's hair or anything else that we talk about on the show.
By the way, I'm having a solid hair day today.
Yeah?
Very much. Love it.
Dawn, how's your hair today?
Most guys would kill for Greg Stocker's hair.
I'd kill for Dawn's hair as well. Be like Fabio. I'm the only guy on the show without hair.
Yeah, let's just keep it the Kayal and Company comment community with K's and C's.
All right. So no debate.
Just be
right?
done with it.
This is like the DNC. We're not going to debate.
No, we don't debate anything here.
We don't debate anymore.
Is there a way? Can we, Daniel? Can we put that in the chat? Like this has been decided. This is what we're calling it.
If you want me to.
All right. Thank
there
you.
it is.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Stay tuned to Daniel Valdez podcast coming up in a few minutes for all that energy. 855-839-1210, the phone number. So you guys call it whatever you would like. Valdez will put in the final ruling, and you guys can argue about it. We're going to get to a break. But first, I got to tell you about my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. As you know, I had the privilege for 3.5 months to test drive all sorts of high-end SUVs, from the Alfa Romeo to the Maserati to the Land Rover, all of which I loved. But I was pretty much hell-bent on a truck, and they came through for me. Just this past weekend, I leased a brand new 2023 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, and that is from Piazza Honda in Springfield. That'll be my vehicle for the next 3 years. And with the family coming up this summer, it's the perfect truck for moving stuff into the new house, or when I'm having a bad day, running them down in the parking lot with the truck. No, I kid. This truck is gorgeous, and with just the right blend of size, power, and style, it makes sense for me. I'm not a landscaper. I'm not towing around big machinery, but I throw my golf clubs in the back. I put my daughter's gym bags in the back, the groceries, you name it, and it's very good on gas, so it makes perfect sense for me. You can see the pictures of this fully loaded truck on my Twitter, @NickKayal, if you would like to check it out. And if you're in the market for a new or certified pre-owned vehicle, whether it's a truck, SUV, or car, I encourage you to shop with Piazza Auto Group. 15 brands, 34 locations. Trust me, they'll get you in a vehicle that fits your exact needs. You can check them out right now at piazzaautogroup.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. June means Men's Health Month for Rescue Natural Supplements. We all know how demanding life can be. When juggling work, family, and personal commitments, you need energy and optimal health. So fear not, because Rescue Men's Health Supplements are here for you. For the month of June, save 50% on the products that guys need most. That's half off on testosterone boosters, prostate support, and more. Discover the amazing benefits of Rescue Natural Male, Prime RX, Super Prostate. No code is needed to get 50% off. Just call a Rescue Product Consultant, 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483, or shop online by visiting res-q.com. res-q.com. It's not just your physical health. Men's supplements can help your mental well-being too. Again, no code is needed to get 50% off on Rescue Men's Health favorites. Shop res-q.com today, res-q.com.
Hi, this is Howard Eskin, and Tasty Cake is gearing up to celebrate their first ever National Crimpet Day. That's on July 7th. And what better way to enjoy this mouth-watering holiday than with the new confetti crimpets. They are inspired by birthday cake and filled with colorful confetti sprinkles. This delicious new crimpet flavor is only available for a limited time, so don't miss them. Tasty Cake's iconic crimpet has been enjoyed by fans for almost 100 years, so be sure to stock up and enjoy all the crimpet varieties on National Crimpet Day. That's July 7th.
First-time homebuyers have a one-stop trusted partner with American Heritage Credit Union. With our first-time homebuyer program, you can earn up to a $500 lender credit. Our realtors can help you shop for your first home, and qualified borrowers can even receive up to $5,000 in first front door grants. To apply with one simple application, visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH. All loans subject to credit approval. Insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 433838.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
It's Borgata's 20th anniversary. Come celebrate with over 20 wheels during the Road to Riches giveaway. This May and June, 1,200 players will win a share of $1.2 million in prizes, including 4 luxury golf carts and 2 Lexus SUVs. Earn entries for drawings held every Saturday and 2 grand prize drawings on May 27th and June 24th. The Road to Riches giveaway, only at Borgata. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm.
And a 6 RBI night.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yeah, baby. 7 o'clock, Kayal and Company, as we continue hour 2 here on this Thursday morning, June 1st. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick Kayal, Dawn Stensland, Greg Stocker, Valdez Dorenzo, the whole squad here. Tomorrow morning, Stocker will be in a boot doing corporate stuff. So Matt Rooney is going to be in the role of Stocker tomorrow.
Who approved that?
I have no idea. And it was not ran by me. I had no post-show meeting that I waited around 20 minutes for.
It's run by you.
That's right, it is. Damn it. Coffee hasn't kicked in. I can't believe it's not even the coffee. It's just my brain. This is your brain on drugs.
What happened to the grammar jar? Is the grammar jar still over there? Yeah.
I think it is.
There's no money in it.
There's not.
Which is a shame.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll get that going in the chat box, and people will start making those observations as well. It's interesting that the whole trans discussion, it almost kind of lives in 2 separate branches, so to speak. You've got all the issues with the corporations like Bud Light and Target and Kohl's, and then you have the female sports battle with biological males coming in and trying to dominate women's sports. And you've got the Riley Gaines component. We talked about the Sam Ponder story yesterday, and there's more fallout. So we're going to get to both of those, both from the corporate side as well as the female athlete side coming up in a little bit. Also, AM radio will have a congressional hearing, and that will be front and center on June 6th. So that's coming up very soon. We'll give you details as to what will be discussed and who will be partaking in this exercise and what some of these key components have to say when it comes to this ongoing battle that I think a lot of us, that listen to this station or work on this station, I think we should be taking a little bow right now. With Ford backpedaling a week ago.
I agree.
I think we did a good job.
I agree. And it was because of, yes, Congress stepped in.
Yep.
And, had this bipartisan bill, Ted Cruz and Ed Markey, 2 guys that would not work together on anything else, but work together on this. But it's because the voice of the people, the listeners of this radio station and others, banging on their door saying, hey, do something about this.
Yeah.
Do something about this. And they did. And Ford backpedaled.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to believe that other free speech stations, conservative outlets across the country in big-time markets like Philadelphia, we're probably having the same conversations that we were having. I mean, if they were doing their show the right way and talking about the stuff that matters to the people, the big Sid Rosenberg station in New York, or
WABC.
Any of the other big outlets out there that are blow torches for this format. So we'll get to that story as well. Dawn's going to have some news here coming up in a moment. But Valdez has alerted me that there have been some objections in the YouTube chat over the name. So I'm not sure how you want to handle this. I mean, maybe we should do a formal poll Put it up on Twitter, on Instagram, on every platform we're on, and let the people decide.
Well, Daniel, jump on the mic. What are some of the objections?
Someone said Kayal's Crazy Cranky Coffee Club.
Well, that's a lot of K's. That's what Stocker's trying to avoid. Kayal's Cranky Crazy Coffee Club?
That's funny, actually.
Someone said Kayal's Basement.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're like, oh, our name isn't original. But I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, boss.
Yeah. You get in there and you handle that, Valdez.
On it, man.
You message them from the @1210WPHT username and you conduct shop. You're the boss over there. You're like Judge Janine. You slam the gavel.
By the way, while you're listening right now, go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, and hit the subscribe button, please. I want to get to our goal is 4,000 subscribers. So help us get there. Please help us get there.
All right. We will eventually come to a verdict and a conclusion.
Yeah,
we might have to have a meeting about this.
We're never gonna please everybody. So.
That's right. All right, 7:04. It's a Thursday morning. Let's get to the news, and we say good morning again to the great Dawn Stensland.
Hey, good morning. We are out of the 50s into the 60s this June 1st. I'll tell you how hot it's going to get today and especially tomorrow. We are sponsored this morning in Kayal and Company News Live by LifeVac. So we'll talk about what's happened in the city of Philadelphia, and I want to get to something that's heading in the Inquirer this morning online about book bans in our region in the schools. But I'll begin with some encouraging news about a police officer who was shot during a deadly standoff in the Kensington section of Philadelphia. And of course, we talked a lot about Kensington yesterday morning as known as, unfortunately, a drug haven, those zombie druggies on the streets and a ton of crime, unfortunately. So in Kensington, this deadly standoff happened last night. A police officer was shot, reportedly when a man went to grab for either the officer's gun or taser. So we're still learning the details. So the officer was treated in the hospital and is now recovering at home. And he was shot in the hand or the arm. Police are telling us only that he's 27 years old, married, assigned to the 24th district, but we don't have the identity yet of the injured officer or the man killed or involved in that deadly shooting. We talked this morning about the investigation into what happened with regard to a shooting outside Temple University Hospital's emergency room. This happened early this morning, triple shooting, and we're told that all three victims are in stable condition, and they were actually able to walk themselves inside the hospital because they were right outside the ER. So it was a drive-by, we know that, and we're waiting to get any details on that one. Thankfully, there were not any hospital staffers going in and out of that entrance area. The hospital had to then, early this morning, switch and bring in other patients through another entryway. And by the way, it's a crime scene now. And many bullet holes in the actual building, in the bricks of the building and the hospital itself. So that causing, obviously, a lot of concern this morning. Okay, I want to get to this story, just really quick headlining for you. Central Bucks School District releasing its report talking about how it evaluates books. And some were removed from libraries that were deemed inappropriate. It's in the Inquirer this morning, but the headline is what I take issue with, because that headline is talking about the book bans in Bucks County.
Oh, so Bucks County's doing a Florida. We're just moving it, but the media says we banned it.
Yeah, I mean, they went through quite a process, but the Inquirer reports they decided to ban genderqueer and This Book is Gay.
Okay.
In their district policy. The truth is they had committees of people looking at it, not just the school board, and they evaluated these books. You can get the books anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're making it sound as if the only place you can get a book is is the school library. But it's just the way that it was reported. I just wanted to call to your attention because you've done big takes on it, Nick. We've talked about this issue a whole lot, and so they're calling that out. The district, by the way, decided to keep other books in the library, such as Beyond Magenta, Lawn Boy, Me and Earl, which it should be Earl
and I.
I'll just point out.
Wow, even the books get it wrong.
So
I feel better about
I
myself.
object. I object to that book just because a sentence should never start with me.
So then, like the movie with Jim Carrey, Me, Myself, and Irene is technically wrong.
By the way, to Dawn's point about the libraries, what kid is like, oh my God, it's not in the school library. What am I going to do?
You know,
there's a thing called boy, I had a
Dewey Decimal System.
There's a thing called a Kindle or Amazon that you can, come on.
You make a really good point, and it's, to me, it's not about kids or the young teenagers that are outraged over the fact that I can't read this book on this property. You know what it is? It's that little niche, progressive, liberal, white suburban guy or female that's just, I'm so inclusive. Like, it's that little sliver of the population that just chirps a lot. That's who it bothers.
I'm surprised we have libraries anymore.
I know.
True.
I didn't know anybody read anymore.
I would like to know. We should do a deep dive, as they say in the business. We should do a deep dive on how many times those books have been checked out in the last 10 years.
Guarantee there's dust all over those books.
Exactly.
But even if there's not, it's how many copies of a book do they have in the library? So let's say there are 3 and they're all out. 3 people in a huge district.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real here. I'm glad we have. I like the library. I do. In Philadelphia, obviously, we're the birthplace of libraries. As we like to say, we're the birthplace of democracy and everything else. But seriously, it costs a lot of money to keep a library. You actually don't really need the library books there because you have at your fingertips, you have access to any book you want in the universe.
Yeah, and how in demand is the book Me and Earl? No, I'm sorry, Johnny, there's 8 people ahead of you that have already requested to take it out for the week. We'll get to you in March. Stop.
I use the library time as a time to sleep.
Yeah, Stalker always had his head down on the desk.
I always. But it's just, I want to know these kids that are clamoring to check out these books. Half of them didn't, not half of them, 99.9% of them didn't even know these books existed in the library.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, we have a library? Okay. And now everybody's outraged that they're, come on.
Yeah. And read the classics. My son just read the latest book. It's The Great Gatsby. And then they analyze all these, it's fun.
It was always on a required reading list, The Great Gatsby.
But I lived in the South for a little bit. Our family moved to the South. So I had never read, for example, Catcher in the Rye.
Really?
Would you believe?
Okay.
So a lot of those books were banned.
When were you in the South?
In the South when I was in middle school and start of high school.
Let's go back.
And then we moved during my high school year. We moved a ton.
Yeah.
But
you want to go
Raleigh, North Carolina.
Once your kids are done with school, my family and you and Larry will move back to the South and we'll say the hell with Philly.
Never. If I haven't left, you'll be, I'll die in this city. That's the truth. Let's talk about our Phillies. We gotta get her done. What?
No, I'm just the
Phillies.
Would you rather watch the Phillies or read Me and Earl?
Stop. Our Phillies. We lost to the Mets, and if we lose again today, we'll be swept again, which really stinks. So we got to win today at 1:10.
And then they have a 3-game series in Washington. By the way, Rich Sealy taking a bus.
Yeah, I was going to say they're going down soon.
Two buses full of listeners.
How about that?
Down there to D.C. Not tomorrow, Saturday.
Yeah.
So maybe Zioli will be good luck for our Phils.
Yeah.
But we lost 4-1.
Don't talk too much sports, Rich. They get mad when you do that.
Yet he can fill 2 buses of listeners.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we mentioned the Eagles score and people wanted to tune us out.
Oh my God, you talk so much sports. I can't believe it. There's a sports station in this town.
It's a long time.
There used to be 2, but
there used to be. No, as a longtime Sixers fan, I have to say, I said to Anthony, we have the NBA playoffs still going on, and all the headlines are about Jimmy Butler, key force as a Miami underdog.
Love that guy.
Yeah, we had him. We had him right here. Blame Ben.
Uh-huh.
That's why Doc got.
I mean, they were up 3 games to none, and they almost lost the
They almost
series.
did, yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yep.
But Miami toppled number 1 Milwaukee Bucks, number 5 New York Knicks, number 2 Boston Celtics, right?
Yep.
I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jimmy.
He likes that underdog role for sure.
And now he just trademarked Himmy Buckets.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to see him get on a debate stage with Chris Christie. Random thought, but what the hell? It's a Thursday. Let's get weird.
Silly. All right. We are sponsored this morning by... Oh, and I should have mentioned, obviously, we talked earlier about the House passing the debt ceiling bill, and now, obviously, it goes on to the Senate, where it, of course, is expected to pass. So it's the House passing that debt ceiling bill last night. If you're just joining us here in Kayal and Company News Live, as the Senate is likely to follow, and we'll see what the fallout is with regard to that. We are sponsored this morning by LifeVac. Did you know that a child dies every 5 days from choking? The original LifeVac is the easiest, safest, most effective airway clearance device that can save you or a loved one from choking. Learn more, lifevac.net. That's lifevac.net. Use code NEWS. Save 20% on your purchase. T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. I think you're going to love this one, especially if you like the heat. The heat's on, so 88 degrees for your high today, and then 93 tomorrow. So a steamy Friday. We have been under these code orange alerts, and that looks like that's probably going to be reinstated tomorrow, especially with all the wildfires going on in Nova Scotia, and that all affects us. So heads up for anybody with any kind of breathing issues. And then the weekend, we go back into the 70s, but a lot of bright, sunny weather for sure. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Before we get to the cut sheet at 7:45, we will get to ESPN raising the trans flag today on their Bristol campus. Still ahead as well, AM radio congressional hearing, and also America could have a new king of beers. All that still coming up before we get to the cut sheet as we continue. Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Simply Safe was named Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors, indoor and outdoor HD cameras, and hazard detectors are powered by live 24/7 professional monitoring, so you get emergency help fast. Get 20% off any new system with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
I'm not even mad that I've never experienced that so-called brotherly love you all brag about here in Philly. I wouldn't expect that being a huge rival and all.
That's football legend and all-time rushing leader Emmitt Smith.
Even though we've been on different sides of the field, I'm still going to extend some kindness to you folks and tell you all about a way to get relief from that awful joint pain without surgery or harmful medications. That's QC Kinetics.
They're the nation's leader in regenerative treatments that go right to the source of your pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, using your natural healing properties right in the office. No downtime to get you the relief you deserve.
See, we're all in this together when it comes to getting relief from that nagging joint pain. I'm glad I can show you some brotherly love, Philly.
Call QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics. 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
A man is dead after being shot by Philadelphia police Wednesday night, and one officer is recovering from a gunshot wound to the hand. The House of Representatives approved the debt limit proposal, and now it's off to the Senate. And at least 3 people are dead in Kyiv, and others are wounded after overnight missile attacks.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together, millions of things for our planet. June is the month to make your pet green by keeping them plastic-free. When buying toys for your pet, look for toys made with natural materials like cotton, rope, wood, or bamboo. Even better, make toys out of old t-shirts, socks, or towels. Your dog or cat will love your upcycled toy just as much. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tell incoming flights you want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials light trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials light trap. Insecticide-free protection.
Hey, Ben Salem, tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
$7:19, Kayal and Company, as we continue on this Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, Greg, Daniel, and Anthony. Apparently, this was a talking point yesterday on Dom's show with a lot of callers in regards to what Americans now might claim to be the new beer of choice in this great nation. So Memorial Day has come and gone, as we know. And that's the time of year where you start to, load up the coolers with beer. Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. If you're one of those seasonal drinkers, maybe you prefer a glass of wine in the winter, a bourbon in the fall. Not that I would ever do anything like that. But Bud Light has been dealing with a lot of blowback, right? And it's been something going on now, maybe almost 3 months, it feels like at this point. April, May, and now into June. And you now have this, I guess this is kind of a nitpicky thing, but I guess Dom was talking about it a little bit yesterday, and I've got this article here from Fortune.com about how Bud Light is in deep trouble, but the new up-and-coming beer is actually an Anheuser-Busch beer. And I'm not sure that many people are aware of this, but Modelo is apparently part of the Anheuser-Busch family. So they go on to say a combination of a 26% drop in sales of the Anheuser-Busch InBev brand, being Bud Light, with a 9.2% gain in Modelo Especial, means the two may end up swapping rankings in the beer power rankings for 2023, according to data from Bump Williams Consulting and Nielsen IQ. One individual goes on to say that's a monumental decline in an interview with the New York Post. If this continues, Modelo will surpass Bud Light for the year. But here's the catch to all of this. For parent company Anheuser-Busch, or as they abbreviate it, AB InBev, INBEV, this might not seem like a problem at first glance since it owns and distributes Modelo Especial throughout the global beer market, with one notable exception, that being the United States. There, or I should say here in the U.S., it belongs to Constellation Brands, which, according to Anthony Dorenza, who just gave me this information, is an American producer and marketer of beer, wine, and spirits. It's a Fortune 500 company. So now, and by the way, their stock is at like $242 a share, just like Odyssey's. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This battle, so it's almost, the way I'm processing this, Bud is in trouble from that specific brand. But if Modelo's a Bud product, essentially, an Anheuser-Busch property, it would be like owning two restaurants, and Anthony Dorenza made this comparison and this analogy during the break. You own two restaurants, and a group of people says, I'm going to boycott restaurant A, but we're going to now buy more food from restaurant B, and it's all under the same ownership group. So you're not really hurting the company's bottom line. You're just kind of reshifting where you spend your money within that family of beers.
Let me ask you guys something.
And by the way, I love Modelo.
putting the conspiracy, because it has that tinfoil wrapper on the bottles.
Yes, it does.
Very good.
You're a fan of that?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Conspiracy hat time. Do they want to get rid of Bud Light? And they are like, what's the fastest way we can tank this beer and prop up this other beer that we're trying to, maybe it's cheaper to produce. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Let's bring in Dylan Mulvaney and start a S-storm.
How do we kill our brand? Let's get a dude in a skirt. That ought to do it.
I'm not actually suggesting that's what they would do because they're not that smart.
We all know it's all about their social credit score.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it would be a hell of a way to do it, wouldn't it?
It really would.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things where, but it really, I think the key takeaway for this isn't to throw water on what conservatives and free speech absolutists accomplished by this Bud Light boycott, but it does go to show you how powerful the conservative voice is, because Bud Light is now, you look at their numbers, they still have a long way to go to get back to where they were. But I thought we would share that because I know I guess this was a big topic yesterday on Dom's show, and a lot of callers were calling in and touting up the fact that they, essentially canceled Bud Light. And I guess Dom was of the opinion that, but you need to know that you're going and spending your money on Modelo. You're still giving the Anheuser-Busch conglomerate your funds.
Yeah.
So it's not a absolute bang your chest victory, but it is what it is. So that's the latest on the Bud front. On the congressional hearings for AM radio, I find this to be fascinating. Now, I'm assuming this will be like a C-SPAN thing where you can see it on C-SPAN.
Sure, absolutely.
So here's what we have. According to Inside Radio, we have Bob Latta, Republican from Ohio, along with 3 other members of Congress who will host a hearing on the issue titled, Listen Here, Why Americans Value AM Radio, on June 6th. Latta stated that he will make a decision on supporting the AM for Every Vehicle Act after hearing testimony from car makers during the hearing. The hearing is intended to be educational, but the possibility of legislation remains a distinct possibility. While Latta appreciated Ford's decision to reverse its initial plan to exclude AM receivers from its vehicles, he emphasizes the need to hear from other car makers. He says, quote, "It is my hope that announcing this educational hearing will show the important role of AM radio stations and what they have played for decades." Latta, along with Representative Greg Pence, Republican from Indiana, and 100 bipartisan House colleagues, sent letters to various automakers urging them to maintain AM radio in all of their vehicles. Latta mentioned that many other Republican lawmakers will wait until after the hearings to decide on supporting the bill, which kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, as they want to ensure that all facts are considered. Some lawmakers have made their stance clear already on this issue, which includes Steve Alford, Republican from Kansas, who called Ford's reversal a first big win in Congress and called for other automakers to follow suit. Alford emphasized the importance of preserving AM radio and highlighted the impact of public pressure. That's kind of the camp that I fall in with Alford. I don't need to have any more educational hearings or learning sessions. I know what I know about AM radio, and I know how important AM radio is. It still affects 40 million Americans on a daily basis. And we've talked about this on this show, some of the emergency things, the weather advisories, all of the main reasons that AM radio exists outside of the biggest, which is, especially for our station and other stations in this format, free speech. The First Amendment. You can call it news, you can call it talk, you can call it news talk, conservative, Republican radio, whatever you want to call it. It's really free speech radio at its best. So I'll be glued to this. I got to tell you, truth be told, I don't know what channel C-SPAN is on TV, but I'm going to have to find it.
Most Americans don't.
I'm going to have to find it.
There'll be clips. There'll be clips online.
Yeah, of course. But I want to watch this throughout the day.
Yeah.
I might even skip the nap.
Oh, wow.
It misses big.
Wow.
You got Congress talking about
nap.
Skip the nap. Doesn't happen too often. We're talking about Congress here and keeping, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but kind of my livelihood here, right?
Absolutely.
Like this.
Absolutely.
And for everybody else out there that feels shunned by mainstream.
This affects all of us, and I think they will be victorious because I think that enough people have spoken. I think that Congress, there's nothing Congress can agree on, but yet they reached a bipartisan bill
I was just
on
going to say,
radio.
Are you surprised that there was such bipartisan support?
I am, because I didn't think a lot of liberal Democrats, which Ed Markey is one of them, liked this form of radio.
Are there any progressives that signed on for this in support?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I would love to know who, if any, of the progressives. I'm willing to bet none of the squad members.
No,
signed it.
There's no chance. There's no chance that any of the squad members signed on to this. But I don't know.
I mean, because we live in this culture and this day and age where the Democrats, not all of them, but a big sizable portion of them, they don't value free speech. They want to silence you and make it a one-lane school of thought, and they don't want to hear from you if you disagree.
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty important. So we'll keep an eye on this. June 6th. Well, that's next Wednesday, I believe, if my calendar's correct. 855-839-1210, the number. All right, coming up next, ESPN has raised the flag on their campus. Now, if you've ever seen their campus, it is massive. I mean, it's like a college campus, and it's all just for a broadcast network. But what flag did they raise? We'll give you the details on the other side. Kayal and Company, stay there.
The year is nearly half over, and you're still dealing with that knee or hip pain. Enough is enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery is not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics right now. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. The advanced regenerative medicine solutions at QC Kinetics can give you a life without that chronic joint pain. And you can do all those summer activities that you used to enjoy. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body so your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. Patients across America are having life-changing results. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. If you're suffering with joint pain in your knees, hips, back, shoulders, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics now. Get a free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can give you your life back. Call now, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics. Tell them Dawn sent you.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. It's hot weather season, but imagine your house always being cool and comfortable no matter how hot it is outside. The sad truth is 7 out of 10 homes are poorly insulated. Is yours? Here's some of the telltale signs. Is your house too hot? Does your AC have to run almost nonstop to keep it cool? Do you have different temperatures on different floors or in different rooms? Are your power bills too high? I had these exact issues, and I decided I wasn't going to just live with it, nor did I want to move to a new house. My solution? USA Premium Foam Insulation. My house became instantly comfortable, and my electric bill went down substantially. It's been a wonderful, wonderful improvement to my home. If you want a cool, comfortable home with lower power bills, give USA Insulation a call at 1-800-USA-FOAM. If you call now when they foam your walls, they'll insulate your attic for free. 1-800-USA-FOAM. Again, free attic insulation when they foam your walls. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Hatfield Pork brings flavor to the table the whole family will enjoy and keep you moving through the day. With over 24 distinct flavors that can be ready in minutes, it's food you can feel good about serving. Explore endless meal possibilities with Hatfield's variety of marinated pork, ground sausage, ham, and bacon. Find your flavor with Hatfield. Visit simplyhatfield.com for recipes and to find a retailer near you.
With NJ Diet, it only takes 40 days to shed a contractually guaranteed 20 to 40 plus pounds. Their program uses hair, saliva, and bioenergetic scans to personalize natural formulas and supplements where the side effect is weight loss. Then DNA info is used to help keep it off. No shots, no hormones, no prepackaged foods, and no surgery. NJDiet.com. NJDiet.com. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40.
Hey, Quakertown, tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
Walking down this rocky road, wondering where my life is leading, rolling on to the bitter end.
Kayal and Company, 7:34 Thursday morning. What's on the cut sheet coming up 7:45? Should be a good one. Took a quick glimpse of it last night. A couple of the A-listers will be trotting out this morning. You'll hear that coming up in about 10 minutes. Your thoughts always welcomed in a variety of ways on the phones, 855-839-1210, Twitter or Instagram at 1210WPHT, or on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, where you can watch the show, you can comment on the show, and you can be a part of, for what we are now calling the Kayal and Company comment community until further notice. We could come up with a way to rebrand it, but that would take some time and effort, and I'm not sure that we want to do that. MAGA Man always puts out the effort on Twitter, and I didn't realize how big of a monopoly Anheuser-Busch has on the beer market. But they also own or are in a partnership with Modelo, Labatt, Rolling Rock, Shock Top, Michelob, Natty Light, Corona, Beck's, Stella Artois, and Landshark Lager.
So they basically own almost every beer.
Yeah. And then Miller or Coors probably get the rest of them.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Well, let me ask you this then. Does the boycott of Bud Light really hurt their bottom line all that much?
I don't think so. Probably not, especially if you're going to reallocate those funds to Modelo, like we talked about 2 segments ago.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that money and go to Miller, yes. If you take that and go to Dick Yingling, yes. But any of these other beers, and I'm totally stunned that these companies are either directly owned by Anheuser-Busch or are a partner of Anheuser-Busch. So they got a lot of beers. I think they'll be okay. 855-839-1210. So yesterday's big take, we talked about one of the stories that came out over the weekend with USA Today sports columnist Nancy Armour, who wrote a very negative article about ESPN's Samantha Ponder. And she called Samantha Ponder a bigot. And that was one of the themes of the big take yesterday. And we talked about that a good portion under this umbrella of, the pushback to the trans community and, biological men competing in female sports. And not only did Nancy Armour from USA Today, I think, attack the character of Sam Ponder, who is a Christian female who simply wants fairness in women's sports, and she's got a big stage. She is the lead host of ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown show that a lot of Americans watch for 3 hours each Sunday before the games kick off at 1 o'clock. And Sam Ponder said this on May 25th, quote, "I barely said anything publicly about this issue, and I've had so many people message me, stop me in the street to say thank you, and tell me stories about girls who are afraid to speak up for fear of lost employment or being called hateful. It is not hateful to demand fairness in sports for girls." Well, Sam Ponder finally broke her Twitter silence yesterday, in which she tweeted the following: "Biology is not bigotry. Loving people does not require the absence of boundaries. And I love how she hit Nancy Armour back very simply by saying biology is not bigotry. Because the left loves to jam science down your throat, don't they? Oh, trust the science. Don't be a vaccine skeptic. Roll up your sleeve and get the jab. Trust the science. But the left is selective when they adhere to science, like this trans movement in female sports. And today, in Bristol, Connecticut, which is the home of ESPN, ESPN is raising the trans flag. Now, I didn't even know that there was a trans flag. I thought it was just the pride flag, the rainbow flag. But apparently there's a variation to it because the trans community, apparently a handful of years ago, didn't feel like they were included in the initial rainbow flag. So, of course, you got to alter everything. Everybody can feel included. Now they're going to raise the trans flag. And think about the timing of this. This is a few days after this whole USA Today ESPN beef. You've got ESPN employees that are liking and favoriting tweets that call Sam Ponder a bigot, and now ESPN will raise the trans flag on campus to kickstart Pride Month, which is the month of June. And this is very critical because ESPN, in the last handful of months, has came out and said Leah Thomas is the definition of courage. Remember Leah Thomas, the Penn swimmer, who denied Riley Gaines a national championship? I don't find Leah Thomas competing in female sports to be courageous. Now, look, I'll give Leah Thomas credit from the standpoint of if you feel like you're a girl, even though I disagree, you're a guy, I think it's a mental health breakdown, but to come out and face some of the pushback, that does take some courage. But I don't find you getting in a swimming pool at 6'1", 200 pounds, and dominating 5'7", 135-pound females to be courageous. I think that's cowardice. And ESPN is giving Leah Thomas the award for woman face in sports. Woman face. Apparently that was the award that ESPN honored Leah Thomas with, as she was essentially labeled as the face of women's sports.
How is that not like blackface?
I have no idea.
That is black. That is the modern blackface.
Modern day blackface, yeah.
But think about that for a second. They are saying a man with a penis can go into female sports, dominate female sports, and then be given an award for the face of women's sports. And we've given you some of the numbers. I believe it was the Washington Post, of all places, with the trans opposition poll that the Washington Post ran in their paper. And in regards to sports, the numbers were somewhere between 80 and 90% of Americans do not agree with the fact that biological men should be able to compete against women in sports. So really, you have almost nobody that thinks Leah Thomas is courageous, and nobody thinks Leah Thomas is a female athlete. Yet ESPN will make a whole month out of that. They raise the trans flag today after basically saying, you know what? Yes, Leah Thomas, you're courageous. Riley Gaines, you go pound sand. And Sam Ponder, while we won't say it as a company, we're not going to denounce the fact that our own employees are calling you a bigot. Now, to be fair, Nancy Armour works for the USA Today. It's not owned by ESPN. But you've had other ESPN employees on the air that have liked tweets that have implied that Sam Ponder is a bigot. And all Sam Ponder is saying, no, dudes, it's not fair that guys get to compete against females. You know, if you think about it in other sports where there's like a separation of size, you go to like high school wrestling or amateur wrestling, they have weight classes. You know, if you're a high school wrestler and you're a guy, there's like the 189-pound weight class. There's the 152-pound weight class. And why do they do that? Because there's a distinct advantage for somebody that's 35 pounds heavier than somebody else. So how can anybody logically come to the conclusion that it's fair for a man to come into a female's event and win. It defies common sense. Yet ESPN is basically spitting in the face of females, common sense people, and honestly, sports in general. Sports are kind of separated based on skill level, right? Weight classes in wrestling, amateur levels of high school to college to pros. It's not just, let's grab this guy and then that girl and we'll all compete and nothing will be equal. Sports are kind of leveled off for a reason, to create like competitive balance. Where's the competitive balance with dudes dominating females? It'd be like me and my daughters playing basketball in the driveway, and I reject and I block the shot of my 8-year-old daughter. Well, congratulations, Nick. You just stuffed your daughter. Yeah, you're a real tough guy.
Get this out of my house.
Yeah. Take that down the street, Olivia. I mean, I look at these stories, and I'm just like, I can't believe, like, if you're, and it doesn't even matter your age, if you're 25, 35, 45, or 75 listening to this show, a good portion of your life, if you grew up like watching stuff like sports and entertainment, ESPN was like, a societal thing. Like it was culture. I remember as a kid in the 90s, ESPN was it.
Yep.
That's what you loved watching as a kid.
Yep.
You stayed home from school to watch SportsCenter.
Yep.
Now we're raising trans flags and saying that men can compete against women in sports and crush them. It's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. So.
It is wrong, and it's infuriating. And the fact that these different groups just go along with this, it's all just upside down land. It's craziness. And we need people in leadership to put this in perspective and just say no.
Well said. Yeah, that's what Alabama just did. The governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey, just banned trans athletes from competing at the college ranks. So if you're a biological male in Alabama, it is against the law to transition and try to compete in female sports. And that's what we need.
And athletes can compete, stay in your own lane, but I'm sick of it.
Well, most people are, Dawn, but most people aren't like us where we have the courage to speak up.
I don't even think I'm courageous. I really think
you're right. It shouldn't be courageous. It's common sense.
But I think most people don't want to get involved in this because they don't want to deal with being shamed,
the blowback,
being with social media, being persecuted. It's more than blowback. You can lose your job. Look at the head of the Inquirer again is taking aim at the president of Jefferson again because of some random tweets that he had just liked. or bookmarked. He didn't tweet anything out.
It was about COVID, right?
And it was with regard to COVID, but now they're saying, well, we are ranking lower as a medical school because of lack of diversity, because he's a white guy. It's just like, come on. But that's what happens to you. It's a persecution if you just don't stay in line and shut up. And I think for women especially, we need to stand up. Because every other group, look at the trans group, a tiny group of people, or, for example, can you imagine, remember there were times when the head of the wasn't it the NAACP, I believe, turned out to be a white woman. Remember this? And it was sad because she was a white woman whose parents adopted children who were African American. And the parents, in trying to express their love for all their children, made this white woman as a child feel like, well, if I were black, my parents would love me more. I mean, it was kind of a messed up thing, I think. Sure. Through psychological thing she was going through, whatever. But she was fired. So if you cannot wear blackface, to Greg Stocker's comment, if you cannot wear blackface, if you cannot pretend that you are an African American person or a Native American person, why can you then say, hey, I'm a woman? And you still have a penis, you haven't taken any hormones, you weren't born with both organs. This is an adult male just standing up one day saying, hey, I'm a woman, America, and now I'm going to be the ESPN Woman of the Year or whatever. Well, it's wrong.
That's exactly what they're saying in Alabama. Kay Ivey says, look, if you are a biological male, you are not going to be competing in women's and girls sports in Alabama. It's about fairness, plain and simple. And then Republican Representative Susan DuBose says, Forcing women to compete against biological men would reverse decades of progress that women have made for equal opportunity in athletics. Susan DeBose, the bill's sponsor, told the committee last month, saying, quote, no amount of hormone therapy can undo all of those advantages of being born male. Because that's what they're trying to do. Well, he or she is taking hormone therapy, so it's actually a level playing field.
No.
It's not.
It's not, because you've gone through puberty. And beyond that, to me, it's more than just about the sports world, even though that is a huge issue because it means girls' sports empowerment and advancement for girls, scholarships, etc. Title IX, scholarships, college educational opportunities, opening doors. But it's more than that. Ultimately, people going out there saying, oh, online, I'm a woman now. And I have to think about getting my period. I can get pregnant as a man. No, you can't. No, you can't breastfeed. No, you can't have a baby. That is me. I am a woman. Don't try to bring me down, and don't disrespect me. I'm a woman. Mm-hmm. Just let me be.
Yep.
And it's not about anybody else. And they all want to talk about themselves. No, women are women. Girls are girls. Let us be. Stop disrespecting us. Boom.
Governor Murphy's Dolphins hate checks in and says, Leah Thomas has the balls to go in girls' locker rooms and let it all hang out.
That's true.
And that's just it. And we are letting that happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowing this.
Yep. And it happens because people, like you said, are afraid of the repercussions if they speak up. All right, 7:49. Let's get to what's on the cut sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Thursday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where Costco members save like $2,500 on the XC40 or $1,000 on other models. These can be combined with other offers. See store for details. Relationships matter. Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill. Tell them you heard about it on 1210 WPHT. Kayal and Company. Check them out on Route 70. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Elon Musk was the guest on the Babylon Bee last night. He sat down for like an hour-plus interview.
I never knew they actually did like audio or video. I thought it was just a website.
I don't think they do, but, you know.
No, it's Elon.
It's kind of cool to sit down with Elon Musk and speak. They talked about a wide range of different topics. I pulled just a couple cuts here. You know, for those that don't know, the Babylon Bee is a satire site. Mm-hmm. It was also banned from Twitter. It was permanently banned, right?
Yeah, like Bruno.
Yeah, and then it was reinstated when Elon Musk took over.
Bruno should actually get a job with the Babylon Bee. He'd be a great writer for them.
He's comparing the humor to a lot of people on the left compared to the Babylon Bee. So this is Elon Musk. This is cut 11, boys.
The essence of a lot of comedy is a revealed truth, like a hidden truth that people understand intuitively or explicitly, and there's that sort of moment of revealed, kernel of truth of often unacknowledged truth, and in that unacknowledged truth is the humor. If you're, premised on a lie, you can no longer be funny because there's no revealed truth, and this is. Why a lot of people on the left have no sense of humor. They're not funny. And if there are so many no-fly zones, that you have to avoid all the time, then there's nothing left to have fun about. Yeah.
I like the fact that he is basically saying what we have echoed on this show, that the brilliance of comedy is the fact that there are many elements of the comic or the joke or the little theme that the comedian's using that are true.
Yep.
And people don't want to hear the truth, even in a joking fashion, which is why I think we always have such a good time on the cut sheet when we play some of the comedians where people are getting pushed back and people walk out of oh man, that person offended me. Like,
yep.
Maybe he offended you, but there's probably a lot of truth to what they said, and you should know entering that arena that you might be offended. That's what comics do.
Well, the essence of great comedy is attacking everything.
Yes.
There's no sacred cows, as they said. I remember the late Gilbert Gottfried did a roast right after 9/11. and I think it was the Hugh Hefner roast on Comedy Central, and he did a joke about 9/11, and everybody was like, too soon. Oh, we can't. And I completely disagree with that. Look, it was a tragedy. There's a lot of tragic things that have happened in the world in our lifetime.
Sure.
But I think a way to heal as a nation is to be able to find common ground and joke about it.
Laughter's good for you.
Laughter is great for you. And at some point, comedians started saying, no, this is off limits. No, that's off limits. No, we can't touch that because we might offend this group. And we can't touch this because we might offend this group. The great comedians, Dave Chappelle is going to be in Philly on Friday. Bill Maher is going to be at the Met on Saturday. Those are two great comedians that are coming to this area that are not afraid to attack sacred cows.
Well, so in a 5-day stretch, we're going to have 3 of the best comedians going today. You got Bill Maher, you got Dave Chappelle, and then you've got Kamala Harris.
Stop.
They did.
Wow. So that's what, Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's, and I just, when you can't find the humor in things anymore, we've lost. We've lost. We just have.
The too soon stuff is interesting as well, because try to make a joke about anything that just recently happened on social media, and you'll get hit back with the too soon right away.
Yep.
Almost every time.
Well, it's why you mentioned 9/11. It's why they'll say surgeons in an ER will have a certain humor, especially in an emergency room like the active emergency rooms we see, or newsrooms. They were for many years, and I think that has been toned down because of the politically correct society we live in. But those kinds of professions where you as a professional are actually trying to cope with seeing things that are unthinkable, and so the sharp humor emerges to cope with things, and that's society. That's a way of coping or grieving. How many times have you been even to a funeral where somebody in the family make a silly joke? It's not being disrespectful. It's that everybody's just trying to deal with that and grieve and cope with it.
Yeah, I try to bring some sort of humor and fun to the show every day, because the topics that we are talking about aren't necessarily the most entertaining things in the world to talk about. And a lot of it's negative, and it's the state of the world that we live in. So I could come in here doom and gloom every day, but that wouldn't be a fun show. I think to the point of laughter and having fun and joking around, I think that's kind of what separates right now, and for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons that Fox crushes CNN. Like I've said on this show many times, there's nobody on CNN that's entertaining. There's nobody that ever smiles, has a good time, tells a joke.
It's good.
Yet you look at Fox and you got Gutfeld and you got people with personality. And that's a major difference.
That's so true.
People hate negativity. They don't want to hear it. Anyway.
Yeah. Elon Musk also says he doesn't fault people for falling for fake headlines or Babylon Bee headlines, because sometimes real news is indistinguishable from the Babylon Bee, which I think is a great point. Cut 12.
Some of these articles are, I can't tell it. I mean, I can tell that it doesn't have a B logo on it, but but the actual text of the headline is indistinguishable from a Babylon Bee piece.
Yeah, that's why I don't blame people when someone says that they make fun of people who think that satire is true. I'm like, I don't, the real headlines are so satirical in nature. They seem like a parody. So,
New York Times had critical thinking is bad for our democracy or something.
I remember that. Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? That's insane.
The thing with the Babylon Bee, which makes it so good, is you actually, to Elon's credit there and his point, if you don't see the Babylon Bee thing on it, you say, okay, it's a real news headline. But even when you see, I follow the Babylon Bee, and I got to read the headline 2 or 3 times to pick up on, the satire and the little pun and whatever they're trying to hint at, because it does come across almost as if it's real news. And if you don't know about the Babylon Bee, you might think it's real news.
Yep.
But it's also a kind of current state of what is constituted as news in today's news cycle. I mean, think about some of the silly stories we talk about on this show that are in the news cycle. And you're like, wait, is that really news? And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see it. All right, gotcha. So,
by the way, streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@Tony 1210 WPHT. If you're watching right now, we only have like 74 likes. Hit the like button, please. I like to get up to 100 likes. And if you're listening when you get to your destination, please hit the subscribe button. We want to get to 4,000 subscribers, just so I can go in there and tell the sports station to eat it.
Oh, that's today, by the way, isn't it? Today's
yeah,
Thursday,
I'm
right?
not going to hit 4,000 today, but maybe by next week.
Okay.
Yeah, but they remind them that they were waxing man nipples.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's what they were doing last week. And they
the bee?
No, the sports station.
Across the hallway, people.
Yeah, I already forgot about that. So that just goes to show you how memorable that was.
So they were but I mean, they're in a it was honestly when I heard that,
these people.
I was like, that's why they did that. So Greg Stocker had a running little, little bet with the other brand managers over in the, across the hall.
Yeah.
And they said, "Oh, what can we do? Let's get Joseph Anthony Retreat Spa to one of the ladies to come over and wax our nipples." Yeah, that's it.
Yank some hair off my chest.
Yeah. I guess it was pretty good, though, because what they did was she didn't warn.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he was like talking. And
Yeah.
So I guess it was
Stocker,
pretty funny.
have you ever been waxed?
Waxed? No. I'm not a very hairy guy.
No?
You know what I mean? Like, I get... I mean, you guys seen, like, when I don't shave for 2 weeks,
blonde
I'm like, it barely comes in.
It takes you a month to get a 5 o'clock shadow.
It does. It does. I'm very low energy when it comes to facial hair and other hair on my body.
Dawn, does it hurt to get waxed?
Have
you ever had your eyebrows done or anything?
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Your eyebrows.
I believe in. We should get a laser sponsor because I believe in the lasers.
Oh.
It's one of the best. Did you know that the Defense Department in the United States of America, that's why I'm thankful for our defense budget, the Pentagon, because they came up with most of our procedures that we now have, like laser, hair lasers.
Yeah.
So there it is.
91 LSXer on YouTube says Greg has less hair than Leah Thomas.
Yeah, that's probably, it's true.
By the way, we're at 8 o'clock right now, so let's reset for the people just tuning in. There was the House approved the debt limit bill, right, Nick Kayal?
Yeah.
It's not just the conservatives, the Freedom Caucus and those members. I know Scott Perry was on like 17 different shows here yesterday, but it's not just the House Freedom Caucus who is voting against this. It's also liberal Democrats.
Okay.
Bernie Sanders yesterday got up on the Senate floor saying that he cannot in good conscience vote for the debt ceiling deal. Now, his reasons are way different.
Of course, they usually are.
But we always talk, Nick, about how when the right and the left are out here and then it wraps back around and they meet.
Yep.
Here's Bernie Sanders from yesterday.
I have to make clear that I cannot vote for this bill. Madam President, at a time of massive wealth and income inequality, at a time when the people on top have never had it so good, while the middle class shrinks and millions of working class families live in desperation, I cannot in good conscience vote for a bill that takes vital nutrition assistance away from women, infants, children, and seniors, while refusing to ask billionaires to start paying their fair share of taxes. So again, not as bad by any means as the bill passed in the House. This bill will cut nutrition programs for kids and the elderly, and yet the billionaires continue to laugh all the way to the bank. They don't have to pay a nickel more in taxes.
Keep in mind, Bernie hates capitalism, yet he's willing to charge $95 for his book on why it's okay to hate capitalism. And by the way, also, if there's one person that's more painful to listen to than Elon Musk, it might be Bernie Sanders. That accent that he has is brutal to listen to. But in some regards there, he's not wrong. But, he goes to the billionaires and the taxes, and it's just such a turnoff every time I hear that guy talking about that, because that guy is the walking definition of a hypocrite. I mean, how much money has Bernie Sanders made in his lifetime? as a career politician.
He has 4 houses.
I know.
He has 4 houses.
He might live better than Joe.
Yeah. He might.
Jesus.
But keep in mind, I'm just going to clarify that when he says that, programs are being cut, programs are for those who are able to work, able-bodied individuals who during COVID were eligible for, different programs. They just have to show their eligibility. They just have to go out and try to find a job and prove that they're trying to get a job.
I remember when I was unemployed about 15 years ago, like early on in my radio career, in order to get the unemployment benefits when I was out of work, I had to, on the website for the state, submit the places that I've been applying to jobs for. You have to be showing the effort and prove that you are seeking work.
Yes.
And you're not just going to be a leech and sit at home and collect money from other people.
Yes. And it has a time limit to it. So
Yes.
after that full-time employment, then you have so much time. You have to show during that time that you're looking for work. But then the benefit does run out because ultimately they're saying, hey, America, we gave you all of these years during the pandemic to find work. You've had all these years. You've had all supersized benefits. Enough.
Yesterday, there was a news report that multiple Justice Department whistleblowers have come forward alleging the mishandling of the federal criminal investigation into Hunter Biden. Nothing new to this audience and to people who consume what we do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
What is interesting to me about this is that this news report came from CBS News.
Oh.
Here is CBS News this morning, yesterday, with their 30-second report on it.
Okay.
Sources tell CBS News Justice Department whistleblowers have raised concerns over the FBI's handling of Hunter Biden's investigation, or rather an investigation into Hunter Biden. Allegations include irregular handling of evidence and a claim that, quote, standard investigatory practices were not being followed. They also claim that disparaging evidence related to President Biden's son was labeled as misinformation. The FBI said it has no comment.
This is why you can't trust the FBI at all, whether it's people that are ousted or people that are still currently employed with the FBI, because every time it doesn't fit to the left, because let's face it, the FBI has had a big impact on the left the last 2 elections, in 2020 and in 2016. So anytime it's not fitting for the left, it's labeled as misinformation or disinformation. And I thought DeSantis made a great point yesterday about the FBI, where he said simply, if Hunter Biden was a Republican, Hunter Biden would be in jail right now.
I know you played this on the Big Take, this morning, Nick, but 806, different audience.
Yeah, different crowd.
So Ron DeSantis yesterday, he kicked off his bid for
pudding fingers
for president in 2024 by holding his first campaign rally in Iowa. And he said he took this shot at Trump when a reporter asked him about the ex-president attacking him.
So you talked about changing your tone a little bit with former President Trump. I don't believe you mentioned him here by name tonight, but does this mean you're going to be a bit more aggressive with campaigning against him?
So look, I'm going to respond to attacks. I mean, if you say Cuomo did a better job with COVID than Florida did, first of all, that's not what he used to say. This is new. 6 months ago, he would have never said that, right? He used to say how great Florida was. Hell, his whole family moved to Florida under my governorship. Are you kidding me? So some of this stuff, I think, is, look, if someone is saying that, I am gonna counterpunch. I'm gonna fight back on it. I'm gonna focus my fire on Biden. And I think he should do the same. He gives Biden a free pass. I'm focusing on Biden. That's my focus. But when I hear something like that, it is so detached from reality. You know how I know? Because I would have people come up to me in Florida during COVID in tears, hug me, perfect strangers, say, thank you, Governor. I escaped from these lockdown jurisdictions. You saved my bacon. I'm here in Florida. My kids are in school. You name it. This was personal to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And to flippantly say that you should have done New York, we have no, I think, we obviously have to respond about that. It's also the case that, we're proud of what we've been able to do in our state. We won the biggest election landslide that Florida Republicans have ever won. And did he ever say anything like, attaboy, good job? No, he attacked me 3 days before the midterm election.
He sounds like a little baby there at the end. He attacked me. He started it. I'm just fighting back. I didn't initiate.
And that's it. The way he sounds.
I picked up on that there.
Yeah, and we've talked about his voice before. He just sounds like he's like a Boy Scout complaining to the Boy Scout leader or something. He's like, and it's that upspeak. It's just, and he doesn't always speak in this manner. So I don't understand what's going on.
The other thing that I want to say about it, and I look, it's his state, it's what he's accomplished, it's part of what he has to run on. But can we stop with hey, Florida just became a kick-ass state because of Ron DeSantis? Like, people have been moving to Florida for a long, long time. The weather's always been great. The taxes have always been low. It's not just like Florida all of a sudden went from Kensington to Florida because Ron DeSantis is the governor. Like that's been a theme for 25, 30 years.
Do you think that these attacks on Trump resonate with people?
No, because it's his delivery. But again, as I said in the big take and after the big take, you're going to have to ask yourself what you want. If you want more of the style, then DeSantis is not for you. If you know what here's how I'll describe these two. I'm going to use a boxing analogy. DeSantis is the guy who's got a really great record. He throws a lot of jabs. You can't really get in on him. You can't really land the knockout blow. He's not a stylistically appealing fighter. He's like Floyd Mayweather or Lennox Lewis. They were very tactically methodical sound, but they weren't big box office draws. Mike Tyson is like Trump. Mike Tyson is he's a draw.
Interesting.
He's compelling. Oh, Mike Tyson's fighting? Okay, I'll pay $49.95 for that fight, whether or not he's still in the prime of his career or not. And there's this compelling element to Trump. DeSantis is the sound fighter. Trump is the guy that sells at the box office.
You also can't, we went through this in the 2015 primary. You can't attack Trump.
No.
You're
not going to out-Trump Trump.
It doesn't resonate with people.
Well, he's trying to go, if you notice, he's trying to be right of Trump. In other words, he's trying to be more conservative than Trump.
Right.
Which, first of all, he's going up against Trump in areas where Trump is a proven winner. Okay? He's PW already. So go for a different lane. Yep. And also, if you're campaigning rights to the right of Trump, then you risk what Nick Kayal talked earlier about. You risk going too far right for the general election, and so you hurt yourself there.
Well, to that point, Dawn Stensland, Eric Santo on Twitter put this out in the 6 o'clock hour when we were discussing the DeSantis thing, because Nick, you had said that you think DeSantis can beat Biden in the general election. He says that DeSantis would never beat Biden because of the 6-week abortion bill ban that he put in place.
I think that really applies to both guys. I'm going to give one guy credit. Harold Ford said on the 5 2 months ago, the Democrat on the panel. He said, until you figure out everything post Roe v. Wade, you're going to keep losing. And I don't disagree with that. I think that's going to work big time against Republicans. We saw it in the midterms.
Yeah.
And we've talked about how, Republicans' worst enemy right now is that career 25-year-old female that you're not going to get.
It didn't hurt him in Florida, though. I know it's a different place, but it did not hurt. Like, can they get enough people out in blue states or in purple states? I guess this state is a blue state now. But can they get enough people out to vote for Biden? And I don't know. I don't know if they can.
Here's an interesting question. Who's to think? Why are we to presume that DeSantis can even win the state of Florida? Trump might beat him in Florida. Process that for a moment.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know.
He's
very popular in Florida.
But we've also never seen, as I said in the big take, nobody from Florida has ever gone on to become president. As big of that state, the monumental nature of being a top tier politician in that state, it's never led to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Just saying. History matters, baby.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong on that.
And that's from Politico, by the way.
Let's go to the press briefing from yesterday. Before Karine Jean-Pierre came out and took questions, Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby comes out first to address the press on the aid to Ukraine. That was the whole point of this was, all the money we're sending to Ukraine. But obviously there were different questions from the press. Mm-hmm. Like one reporter asked about the Chinese spy balloon. Remember the Chinese spy balloon?
Yeah.
And everything that's going on with
Mama
that.
Zioli.
She was the first to report that it
She would have shot it down before Joe.
So you'll be happy to know that there's not an investigation going on.
Oh, yeah, why not?
I just want to follow up on China. I think from our conversations with administration officials, including Jake Sullivan, there was a clear message that both the U.S. and the Chinese want to move forward beyond the spy balloon incident. My question is, what about the investigation? Where are we? When can we expect the result of the balloon investigation? Will it be made public? And then I have a follow-up on North Korea.
So just to be clear, there's not an investigation going on. There was forensic analysis done on the material that we recovered from the payload of the spy balloon.
Yeah, so just forensic analysis, not an investigation. So,
of course not.
We know from China. We don't know what kind of data that they have that they acquired.
Well, we got to keep the relationship strong.
But there's no investigation.
No. And it would just be a waste of time anyway, as every other investigation that goes on in Washington, D.C.
We didn't speak about this yesterday. I don't know, Dawn, if you mentioned it on your show, but Tara Reid, not the actress, the woman who accused Joe Biden of, was it rape or was it
sexual harassment?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. That case never went anywhere. She apparently is looking for citizenship in Russia.
Oh.
And the allegations are that her life was at risk, or her life is at risk by the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
So that was brought up to John Kirby yesterday, and this is how he addressed it.
Tara Reid, who was an aide to then Senator Biden back in the 90s, and then in 2020 accused him of sexual assault. She announced yesterday she's seeking citizenship in Russia, and she feels safer there. Does the White House have any reaction to that announcement, given the accusations that she's made against President Biden?
We'd be loath to comment on the musings of a potential Russian citizen. That's really up for her to speak to.
Does the White House believe that her allegations may have been motivated by her allegiance to affinity for Russia?
Difficult to say. I can't get inside her head and speak for her motivations and intentions. That's really for her to speak to. The one thing I will say is that the allegations that her life was at risk by the United States government, absolutely false, baseless. There's nothing to that.
Life is so bad that I've got to leave the United States of America and I find my safe haven in Russia. How about this? Maybe maybe Tara Reid could get connected with Brittany Griner and get some of her thoughts on what it's like in Russia. Now, here's the thing, too, as well. Let's flip this around. Imagine if it was a Republican, politician, how much different this would be covered.
We don't have to imagine. Because we have a woman, who alleged that Trump, 30 years ago, sexually assaulted her. It's a similar story. Tara Reid says that in 1993 he forced her up against a wall and assaulted her, sexually assaulted her, and then accused also of sexual harassment. So it's a very similar situation.
And we've never seen Joe do anything kind of creepy and whisper and be around females. Doesn't really fit with what the labeling of Joe Biden is. I say that with sarcasm.
There's something very suspect about this whole thing.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of stuff going on in the 90s.
I don't know. By the way, Tara Reid, the actress, she fell off a cliff, didn't she?
Wow. That's what drugs will do to you.
Was she on drugs?
Oh, my God. She's been in and out of rehab a bazillion times.
Oh, has she?
Yeah, every time. She basically would get out of rehab, do an American Pie remake, and then go back into rehab.
Or she was in the Sharknado movies, too.
Oh, I hated those. Jaws ruined it for every other shark movie, by the way. If you're just wasting your time putting out a shark movie, if it doesn't include, the cast of Jaws.
John Kirby also said that it should come as no surprise to anybody that Vladimir Putin would try to make it hard for Biden to win an election.
It should come as no surprise to anybody that Mr. Putin would show an interest in making it hard for President Biden to win election and to try to interfere in his ability to govern as president of the United States.
So we're doing the Russia interference thing again, are we? How many times are we going to play that card? What's more exhausting, the race card or the Russia card? We'll do a poll question.
Newsmax's James Rosen asked about China and Russia yesterday, and John Kirby took exception to the question that that Mr. Rosen was asking.
We're not currently. Secondly, the colloquy you and I had was about whether China and Russia, or either one, should be considered an evil regime. President Reagan described the Soviet Union as the locus of evil in the modern world. George W. Bush referred to an axis of evil after 9/11. If you have governments that are running concentration camps or launching unprovoked wars where hundreds of thousands of people are being killed and the President of the United States calls the leader of that regime a war criminal, I don't see what it is that prohibits you from calling a spade and saying these are evil regimes, which you refused to do in our earlier colloquy.
Well, I appreciate your advice on policy, and I'll take that back, James. But president's never been one. The president? No. It's not. It's not a simple question, James. It's a criticism that you're posing as a question. You'd like to see us put a label on these two countries, and President Biden just doesn't conduct foreign policy that way. I think go look at the national security strategy. Go look at the national defense strategy. Take a look at anything that the president has said over his time as commander-in-chief about Russia and China, and you'll see that we are speaking pretty plainly to the American people and to those countries and those leaders about how we view these their behavior, their conduct on the world stage, and our relationships with them. We've been very, very honest about that.
North Korea. According to the energy statement on space launch yesterday.
There we go.
Yeah, good talk. What was that question about, by the way? You need a translator for that.
That was in.
Well, Kirby in the beginning is not wrong when he says it's a criticism posed as a question, but it's still great to ask. And really, my takeaway is, why do you view Russia? And to me, the answer is they're both the definition of evil. But why do you view Russia the way you do, yet you allow China to run all over you the way you do? That would be the question that I would ask. But it's interesting how this administration will never say certain buzzwords or phrases such as, what did they phrase that question as? Evil, wasn't evil empire, but something evil nations, and Kirby refuses to call it that. Much like our boy down at the southern border, Mayorkas, refused to acknowledge it as a crisis.
Yeah.
You know, they could hit him 1,000 different times with the word crisis, and he will not say that word.
Yep. One more from Kirby. This is Stephen Nelson telling him that the majority of Americans believe Biden is corrupt. John Kirby is speechless over that.
And I'll ask you the international polling question. There have been many developments in the House investigations into the First Family's international business dealings recently. There's one committee trying to get an FBI file alleging that President Biden took bribes. There's another IRS whistleblower who's alleging there's a cover-up in the investigation. Amid all of this, there was a Harvard-Harris poll this month that found that 53% of the public, including a fourth of Democrats, believe, quote, Joe Biden was involved with his son in an illegal influence peddling scheme. There's, of course, evidence that the president interacted with his relatives, associates from China, Mexico, Kazakhstan, Russia, and Ukraine. So what do you say to the majority of Americans who believe that the president is himself corrupt? Wow.
Can I take that question? The president has spoken to this. The president has spoken to this, and there's nothing to these claims. And as for the whistleblower issue that you talked about, and the document, I believe the FBI has spoken to that, and you're going to have to go to them on that.
All right, let's go.
Translation, I'm done here. It's time for Karine. Karine, step on up to the podium.
and step on up to the podium. She did. She was very worried because somebody in the press briefing, when she stepped up to the podium, was a member of the press was coughing. And she was very worried about this member.
This is about protecting programs that the American people truly need and depend on. And so he believes that we're going to get this done. Is someone okay? Someone is coughing out there. Is it you? Are you okay? I don't know who it is. I don't know if they want water. Okay. All right, just checking in. Check in. Go ahead, April.
It's very distracting with you coughing for me to read my binder. I'm going to need you to stop.
You know she's thinking COVID.
Oh, I didn't even. That's a good point.
You need to mask up.
Hey, cough. Hey, person coughing. I know allergies right now are out of control,
Hey,
but it's COVID, so cover yourself up there.
Mark from the Washington Post, are you vaxxed? Did you get the shot? No, I don't want to take this home to my family.
She definitely thought it was COVID. One more. Peter Ducey asked this question to Karine Jean-Pierre.
Why hasn't TikTok been banned yet?
Look, as you know, there's a CFIUS review. I'm going to just leave it there. It's being reviewed by that committee, and so the president thinks it's an important issue to deal with. But I just don't have anything else to add beyond that.
Why hasn't TikTok been banned yet?
Well, it's a great question. I want it banned. You know that. I know, Stalker, you think bans don't work.
Bans don't work.
But there's no doubt, I think, that Jean-Pierre and even Psaki, they got to have dartboards at home with Peter Ducey's face on it, don't they? At this point?
You would think so.
Like, just the way Ducey delivers that question out of the blue. Like, Karine Jean-Pierre's got to be saying in her inner monologue, like, oh, I can't stand this son of a... Oh, he's always got something for me, and I don't have the answer.
By the way, A.J. Ernest this morning in the in an opinion section in the Philly Inquirer is making the case that PA should ban TikTok.
I agree.
Really?
Yes. Yes. I want that app gone. Number one, China. Number two, I'm tired of the trans mental health breakdowns that we got to play on the cut sheet every day.
Well, yeah,
where they read like they're zombies.
We're losing content if we ban TikTok.
You know what? For the betterment of this nation's mental health, I will take a little sliver away from the content of Kayal and Company.
You want more people to be on TikTok in Pennsylvania? Ban it. I'm just telling you.
Well, but if you ban it, you can't get on it. So how would I'm confused here.
Oh, you think if they ban it here, people won't be able to download it and get on it?
Well, I mean, I got to imagine it's as simple as, and I'm going to use FanDuel for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So in Tennessee, I could not download, and I could download it, but I could not access FanDuel because sports betting was illegal in the state. And my phone, it would pick up where my signal is, my IP address or GPS or whatever, and it would prohibit it. So you just use that same technology with TikTok, and if you are somewhere within the boundaries of Pennsylvania, you can have that app on your phone, but if you open it and try to log in, it won't work.
By the way, in this, getting back to this article this morning in the Inquirer, he cites, this is A.J. Ernest in the Inquirer, he cites that the CDC, the rate of suicide and suicide attempts by self-poisoning for 10 and 12-year-olds increased 73% from 2019 to 2021. Gee, what else happened between 2019 and 2021 that may have hurt the mental health of 10 and 12-year-olds? Dawn, would you like to take this for Mr. Ernest?
Thanks. What is the COVID-19 pandemic?
It's ridiculous to think that, yes, look, social media is a plague. I 100% agree with that.
No, you try to get me off of it every day.
But it all is. It's not just TikTok.
Yeah.
It all is. And it's up to the parents to be parents.
We should actually, you know what? We should go through Dorenzo Valdez. If you have time to do a little research today, I'd like to know who owns each of the major social media giants and where they're based out of. Because I got to imagine TikTok's not the only one that's China, right? You'd have to imagine that.
You would have to imagine.
But I don't know. So if we can, maybe, I don't know, maybe Bud Light owns them. The Anheuser-Busch company
They own
owns
everything else.
They own everything else.
They own everything else. All right, I'm done.
You done? That's it?
That's it.
All right. Couple straight days in a row now here, Stalker. We're not making it to 8:38. Getting the little early out time from the cut sheet these days.
Well, maybe I'm just not pulling good enough cuts that require you two to comment on things.
Dawn, we can blow V8 longer if we have to. That's correct. Dawn and I can keep going and going and going. We're like the Energizer Bunny.
And going. And going.
And Dawn does, because Dawn does 6 hours a day.
Yes, she does.
As opposed to me. All right, 8:28. It is a Thursday morning, and let's get to Dawn Stensland's Big 3 at 8.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal and Company.
Big 3 at 8, sponsored by the Philadelphia 100. So, other stories of the day: the U.S. Coast Guard suspending the search for a man overboard. 35-year-old missing from a Carnival cruise ship. And this happened off Florida's Atlantic coast. So Coast Guard says the man is identified now as 35-year-old Ronnie Peel. He fell from that Carnival Magic cruise ship about 185 miles east of Jacksonville, East Coast, and that happened on Monday. So he apparently walked out on his ship's the stateroom, their balcony, and then was leaning over, looking at something, and fell overboard.
Oh, man. You know, of all the different vacations that you can do in this lifetime, I've never had any appeal and attraction to a cruise. I don't know about you guys.
No.
Like
I've done one. It was fine.
Wait, you've only done one cruise in your life?
Me, yeah.
And how many have you done, Nick?
None.
You've never been on a cruise?
I've been to Hawaii, Vegas, California, Florida. I've been to Rome for my honeymoon, up and down the East Coast. I've never once even considered, hey, what do you think about a cruise this year? I don't know why. I'm just not. I don't want to be on a boat the whole time.
You're not.
I know you dock.
You've never been on one.
No.
Wow. I love cruises.
Really?
We love them. Yeah.
They're like floating petri dishes. Ugh.
No, they're not. I mean, it is like a floating hotel, but they have so many amenities and spas, great food.
Here's your room the size of a closet.
Well, not necessarily.
Well,
but you're not really.
Spender.
But you're not. No, but you're not really in the room that much.
I remember the episode of Married with Children where they go on a cruise and the boat sinks.
Yeah.
And Al's stuck on a raft with Gilbert Gottfried.
Speaking of Gilbert Gottfried, everything comes full circle.
Yeah. It always comes back to that show.
The cruise allows you to see so much. No, it's a lot of fun.
By the way, Nick, you are being called out a ton on YouTube for you saying that we should ban TikTok.
Oh, okay.
So just wondering.
Maybe we should ban the comment section on YouTube. How about that? How about I cancel you right now?
No, you're wrong, by the way. But anyway, go on, Don.
I'm wrong 7 out of 10 times.
Number 2, this is local area police, Linwood Police, so it's South Jersey. They are sounding the alarm, warning people after they say 2 women became sick. Why? Because they had touched a piece of blue painter's tape that somebody had stuck to the rear window of their vehicle. So they said, if you walk up to your vehicle, let's say you've been shopping or grocery shopping, whatever, and you see that blue, the blue painter's tape.
Yeah.
Be careful, because they have 2 different instances where somebody walked up and said, who stuck tape on my vehicle?
Oh, wow.
Apparently, they're saying they pulled off the tape, but it has a dangerous substance on it.
Is it like the little sticky residue that remains on it?
Yes.
Okay.
So they are investigating this. The women were hospitalized, and then they sent the tape to the lab to find out what is that substance.
Okay.
But if somebody sticks something, they're saying, is this something, some kind of a new trend, or what was happening here?
It could be a TikTok challenge. It's the blue tape TikTok challenge.
Bringing it full circle for you.
We need to ban it. There's mental health. We need to ban it.
By the way, speaking of dangerous stuff with cars, did you know that the new car scent can cause cancer?
I've heard that.
And I'm not talking about like new car scent, the air freshener, the little blue tree that you put in when you buy them at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
But that natural smell of a new car is cancer causing.
Everything's cancer causing.
Everything it sounds like is cancer.
I don't know. Just
Yikes.
spray a bunch of Tommy Hilfiger cologne in your car and you'll be good.
By the way, we should probably put up, Daniel, if you're listening, can you put up a poll on the YouTube page to find out if cruise ships, yay or nay?
Yeah.
Because they're going back and forth. Michael Pelka is on our Kayal and Company comments community on YouTube, and he's with you, Nick. He hates cruise ships.
You've got no interest.
Cruises.
Didn't we have an issue with cruises twofold? One, like the sanitization and the was it the toilets or whatever were going. I don't know what company it was, Carnival or whatever. And then weren't we also dealing with something during the pandemic where people that were on cruises and they couldn't get off because they had COVID?
Yes, and by the way, and I had done an interview on this. I should revisit this, but by the way, that first cruise ship, and remember, it was also wasn't off the West Coast. And so now I had done a post-COVID interview, and they did a documentary because they said everything we needed to know about COVID, we actually learned. The country we knew, health officials knew based on that cruise. They knew who was most affected by COVID. Because think about it, it's a petri dish of different people of all different ages and ethnicities and so on. And so the kids didn't, it was like a flu to them, elderly or seniors, people with health risk. They got really, really sick, right? So we knew everything. We had it right there in our hands. And all we had to do was look at the science.
By the way, a very unscientific poll on our YouTube page. Cruise ships, yay or nay? 83% say nay. So everybody's with us now.
Wait, of the 83%, here's what I want to know. How many of you, which cruise line and how many of you have been on a cruise? And because I've had... I mean, we've been on a ton of cruises over the years, and even when our boys were little, and they have, Greg Stocker, they have amazing childcare with activities, and they do like theater with your kids. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, speaking of K's and C's and alliteration, I think sales should sell a Kayal and Company cruise.
Yeah.
I think we should. I think as an audience, we should go on a big cruise.
Speaking of that, our sales manager just walked by the door.
Yeah, get Kalustian in here. See if he can pitch that on Tuesday.
Yo, Rob.
A Kayal and Company cruise.
And since none of y'all want to go, it's mine.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Me and Greg will not go. Dawn, Larry, and all the boys.
Man, you are just butchering the English language.
It would
today,
be.
Let me just say.
It would be amazing though if we could somehow have like Elon Musk give us a Starlink.
Oh, that would be great.
So that we could broadcast all of us and go and broadcast. And Stocker, you and Steph would have childcare. You would love it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we just bring my in-laws to on vacation with us, and then we have childcare.
What broadcast would go smoother, us on a cruise or Twitter Spaces with DeSantis?
I'm telling you, we've had amazing experiences, and we do all the excursions. It's some of our greatest family memories.
I mean,
we're on a cruise.
I will go on one with the audience.
You would have fun.
Yeah,
trust me.
As long as it's free, I'm in. I'm not spending my own money on a cruise.
Well, we went all through, Europe, the Caribbean.
Yeah.
The Alaskan cruises are great because Alaska is obviously hard to navigate. And they do these incredible excursions, Iditarod dogs. I mean, it's really wonderful.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress.
All right, Dawn, the queen of the cruise.
Number 3, I put in, did we talk about the House Oversight Committee Chair, James Comer, refusing the offer?
No.
It's an offer he can refuse.
Oh, okay.
Mob. So House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, obviously Republican from Kentucky, refusing the offer from the FBI to view the documents that he is requesting. And remember, they've subpoenaed. We've talked about the big subpoena and the deadline, and we discussed this at length. So the deadline was yesterday. And so what happened was the Bureau Director, Christopher Wray, Trump appointee, speaking by phone, calling up Comer, as well as Senator Chuck Grassley, about the paperwork, the subpoena, and saying, well, I'm not going to turn it over. So he's essentially missing the deadline, refusing the subpoena, but he said, you can look at it. So you can.
Uh-oh.
I'll show you mine if yours.
I think that's what Twitter told Tony Bruno. We refuse you, but you can look at it.
So basically, refusing the subpoena and citing essentially national security interests. But according to the oversight chair, this was a tipster. This all started when a tipster told the FBI in June of 2020 about a $5 million bribery scheme involving now President Biden and a foreign national whom Comer has not yet identified. But Comer describes the unverified tip as key to Comer's efforts to show with tangible evidence the Biden family and President Biden is corrupt. So this is key evidence. And remember, it's non-classified information. That's what they're going after. So the Christopher Wray saying, nope, we're not answering the subpoena and just turning over the paperwork, but you can come over here and I will, show you the document. You can read it. You can look at it.
Okay. It's not what you know. It's what you can prove. And I'm still waiting for James Comer to make it all stick.
Well, calling all entrepreneurs, distinguish your company as one of the fastest growing in the region by applying for the 2023 Philadelphia 100 Award. So take the first step in joining this elite group of businesses. Apply today, Philly100.org. Thank you, Philadelphia 100, for sponsoring our Big Three.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We will come back, wrap up the 8 o'clock hour with the New England area getting super woke. 2 stories from 2 institutions, but one professor says, enough with the language police. You're not helping. The details next.
Miller Lite has high hopes for the Phillies this season, so catch every game at Gleason's Bar in Levittown with a $3 Miller Lite draft special. Gleason's features an extensive pub menu, including their famous chicken cheesesteak, voted best of Bucks, $3 domestics for their weekday happy hour, and some of Bucks' best bands on weekends. So enjoy every Phil's game at Gleason's Bar in Levittown. Gleason's Bar, a proud partner of WIP's High Hopes Pod with James Seltzer and Jack Fritz. It's Miller time, Phillies fans. Celebrate responsibly.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
A man is dead after being shot by Philadelphia police Wednesday night, and one officer is recovering from a gunshot wound to the hand. The House of Representatives approved the debt limit proposal, and now it's off to the Senate. And at least 3 people are dead in Kyiv, and others are wounded after overnight missile attacks.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Are you tired of dealing with those old, inefficient windows in your house? Maybe it's time to go Guida. How about that drafty, beat-up looking entry door you've painted over more times than you can count? Well, go Guida. Need added protection from the elements with a new storm door? Go Guida. And what about that sliding patio door or garage door you've been meaning to replace? Go Guida. Whatever your home improvement needs are, I suggest you go Guida with the great people at Guida Door and Window. To help get your project started, Guida is offering 20% off all windows and doors while allowing you to start your project with no money down and up to 3 full years to pay it off interest-free. That's right. Receive 20% instant savings with the luxury of paying off your project interest-free for up to 36 months. Restrictions apply, offers for a limited time, so what are you waiting for? It's time you finally go Guida. Call today. Schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Hey, neighbor, what you doing?
Just getting the groundwork done to put up my new fence.
Oh, cool. Did you contact Pennsylvania One Call System to check the underground utilities first?
Nah, there's nothing but dirt back here. Oh, no.
Whoa, I think that's a water main. Yeah, well, you said you always wanted a pool. All joking aside, you should call Pennsylvania One Call.
You're right. I'm going to call Pennsylvania One Call. But first, cannonball!
Know what's below. Contact 811 before you dig or visit pa1call.org to submit a locate request to have underground utilities marked.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Summer's the perfect time for your child or grandchild to get ahead if your child needs support, special tutoring, and custom instruction. METC is here to help. Now's the time to make the call to METC, called a Motivational Educational Tutoring Company. For over 30 years, METC's tutoring studio, founded by educator Kathy Gannett, has helped people of all ages to grow personally and academically. Call Kathy now at 215-493-4200. METC offers motivational SAT prep as well as academic skills and leadership training. Call 215-493-4200. Now's the time to get assistance for your child to help them succeed. Visit online, METC.com. METC's tutoring studio. Call them today, 215-493-4200, or email email Kathy directly, info@metc.com. Remember, 1210 listeners get a free 1-hour consultation. Take advantage of this opportunity. Help your child get one-on-one help. 215-493-4200.
Jesse Kelly here. I'm not a financial expert, but I do look for solid investment opportunities for investment growth and protection against loss. I do know that putting all your eggs in one basket is not a good financial plan. Securing your IRA or 401k with real gold and silver with Oxford Gold is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Or you can buy precious metals and keep them in your safe. One app, one call, and you pick your precious metals. That's 833-404-GOLD. That's 833-404-GOLD.
The internet can be an all-you-can-eat buffet for identity thieves.
So full.
Too many maiden names.
And social security numbers.
Where'd you find those?
By the password bar. Can't miss them.
LifeVac alerts you to identity threats you could miss by monitoring your credit and bank statements. If your identity is stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS. Go to LifeLock.com.
We're looking at 88 degrees today. We're in the 90s tomorrow. Incredible weather. So whether you're thinking about heading down the shore, going for that walk, working out, getting fit, whatever that looks like for you, you can't do what you want to do because you're still dealing with that pain, that knee pain, that aching hip pain. It's bringing you down. Enough. Pills are not the answer. Surgery, it's not the answer. You need to call QC Kinetics, and I want you to call them today. The Advanced Regenerative Medicine Solutions at QC Kinetics give you a life without that chronic joint pain. How does that sound? You can do all those summer activities you've been dreaming of. Yeah, they can become reality thanks to QC Kinetics, which is the nation's leader in taking healing properties from your own body and then applying them right into your aching joint so that your joint tissue can be repaired and restored naturally. It's a treatment that is truly revolutionary, and it's right here in the Philadelphia region. Patients across the country and across our region are experiencing these life-changing results. And the great news here is no drugs are involved, no surgery, no downtime. So if you're suffering in pain, maybe in your knees, your aching back, your shoulders, your hips, you need to stop what you're doing. Call QC Kinetics for that free consultation. Get it now and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine give you your life back. Just call them. 215-999-3000, QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Just call them, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Calling our media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.45 on a Thursday morning. It's Kayal and Company, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. 855-839-1210. Stream us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us live on YouTube. Still ahead in the 9 o'clock hour. eBay in the news, as well as Google. A preference for Gen Z. Al Pacino and Dave Chappelle. It'll be a very interesting 9 o'clock hour, which will also include our morning mystery movie clip, what's on the cut sheet part 2, what's on tap for the Dawn Show, and who on Twitter today. Very busy show so far this morning, from Chris Christie jumping in to be the guy that is going to go on the offensive against Donald Trump. Our big take this morning on Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Ron DeSantis and the individual battles they are facing. As well as the congressional hearings coming up on June 6th for AM radio, and all of the trans movement hysteria going on with ESPN, and the audacity of any woman to come out and say, I don't believe biological men should compete in sports against females. Well, you will be labeled a bigot if you do so. So proceed with caution, because the left will come for you just like they came for Sam Ponder at ESPN. But a couple of stories to get to here from universities in the New England area. And finally, a professor has said, you know, enough's enough. I'm going to stand up for all this nonsense when it comes to the word police and the language police. But the two stories that stand out to me, first of all, this one is from thecollegefix.com. Boston University students must now take a writing class with social justice emphasis. This is actually the lesser of the two. So if you think this is bad, wait till you hear the next one. But social justice and, quote, English supremacy. Now we've gone from white supremacy to English supremacy. Will be some of the new focuses of Boston University's writing program. And I know we have a few Boston University grads and or fans in this audience because I once confused Boston University with Boston College. And trust me, they let me know about it. Big difference, apparently. According to recently announced changes, they will have the social justice and English supremacy emphasis in their writing classes. Students now must learn how writing intersects with race, class, and the environment due to the new social justice emphasis of the program. All students, you must now take a first-year writing requirement through the program. And in this, the new class will include linguistic justice. Who cares?
Wait, linguistic justice?
Linguistic justice, yes. Domestic labor and the commodification of care. Asians are people of color too. That sounds like I almost felt like Will Ferrell in Celebrity Jeopardy there when I'm reading up the categories. Asians are people of color too.
Sounds like a movie.
That category is about Asian people.
Yeah.
And no, Burt Reynolds, you cannot wager threeve. Combination of 3 and 5. All right. So Asians are people of color. Exploring the controversy and identity politics, deconstructing narratives, stories of race and racism in American cultural memory, and writing environmental justice. Yes, because I got to imagine somehow climate change is connected to writing. So all of these are now going to be under the umbrella of the social justice and English supremacy writing mandate that first-year students must take.
You're
still time to enroll in community college.
Yeah, I was just going to say your money at, oh my God. Is college a waste of time?
Yeah, I would say so. Unless you're going for, medicine or, some of the stuff that you just no other way to get around.
Yeah.
But what's a communications degree worth these days? Not the paper it's written on?
What's funny is that, in the hiring process of what I do, now, granted, this job is not like many other jobs. But I don't, I never ask people.
Yeah. You never ask me anything.
Their degree.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I know Daniel went to Newman College.
Just graduated. Congratulations.
Because he mentions it. But I don't think when I hired him, I said, what college did you go to?
Yeah, I don't think.
What kind of degree do you have?
You're not seeking guys or gals with journalism degrees, are you?
No, Dawn's the only.
I know Dawn's a journalist, but you're not looking for that.
I'm not looking for and you don't need to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree to do this.
Well, Rooney is going to be in tomorrow for you, and Rooney's an attorney.
He's a lawyer, yeah.
And Rich has a political background prior to radio, correct?
He does. Yeah.
What was Rich's major in college? Do we know?
I have no idea.
You worked with him for 25 years.
Political science.
Political science. Okay, makes sense. Very, very good fit for this kind of work.
Yes.
Not a requirement, but a good fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was my major for the first year of college, and I switched to criminal justice.
Yeah, it just doesn't, that kind of experience just doesn't matter to me. And I think it's like that. I think that's becoming more and more, just give me good qualified people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I hired a bunch of people. Some were good, some were not.
So your hiring is totally different than the Biden administration. You're just looking for good, qualified, competent people that can do the line of work.
Yes.
You're not trying to check boxes.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeking people with certain degrees from certain schools.
No.
Not that I would think, anybody with a, degree from Villanova is probably going to reach out to you to apply for a talk radio
How
job.
dare you?
I'm just guessing that, they probably don't want to go down this road, but that's them.
Mm-hmm.
Have a blast. So that was Boston University. Let's get to UConn. This is actually worse. The University of Connecticut will officially make its ABR, which stands for Anti-Black Racism course, mandatory for all undergraduate students as part of the core curriculum's new social justice requirement.
Anti-black racism?
That's correct. But in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think we should have mandates for anti-Asian racism, anti-Semitic racism, anti-white racism. I mean, from what I'm reading here, it's just anti-black racism. But as we know, racism comes in all sizes, shapes, and forms. So at UConn, this is a mandate. You have to take this if you want to graduate from the University of Connecticut.
Wow.
Provost Ann DeLavia announced on May 17th that the requirement will go into effect during the 2024-2025 academic year. So the 2023-2024 school year, you're still in the clear if you are a senior at UConn. You will not be forced to take this. With a course that will be similar to a one-credit ABR, which stands for Anti-Black Racism, elective that has been offered since 2021, which I have no problem with that. An elective, you want to take that class, knock yourself out. You need an extra credit to graduate. Maybe you failed a course, whatever it is, boom. But I'm anti-mandate. I don't force people to take things or do things that they don't want to do. She goes on to say, quote, an education at our university must provide many opportunities to confront the history and current reality of injustice and human rights abuses, and we expect our students to be leaders in creating a more just and equitable world. There's the E word, equity. ABR and the curricular changes that are in development are a powerful point of departure from the status quo. Imagine being like a biology major or a kinesiology major, and you're like, oh, I got to take ABR or I don't graduate.
So we have a producer here, a part-time producer here who works the weekends, who is who graduated from UConn. And he actually sent me the story over the weekend.
Okay.
And he said this is new. So this has just been put in place in the last year or two.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is that you pay to go to college, right?
Yes.
So when you pay to do something, you're the customer.
Yes.
How do they, like...
New mandate at Nick's restaurant, you must have the dinner rolls.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not an option.
You must pass this to graduate.
Yep.
Like, I can see if it's a part of your major, but this is a part of nobody's major.
No. And again, it's, let's take this all the way back to elementary school and middle school and high school. Again, it's the infusion of social justice or gender equality and all this political left-leaning mumbo-jumbo that is forced on you. And, I get it. College is optional and you're the customer. No doubt you're spot on. This is the other stuff that bothers me with the younger kids today in the schools. Like, our kids are so far behind in reading and math.
Yeah.
We gave you those test scores. 8th graders are a year to 2 years behind. And we're now obsessed with all this other stuff that falls under this administration's branding package. It's like, can we just worry about what is important and the basics? Like, they always say, why don't you just take care of what you're supposed to take care of, and then we can add on new things? Yet here at this institution at UConn, that will be a mandate. So choose wisely if you don't want to be forced what to do. And then lastly, a Massachusetts professor has said enough is enough. Attention language police. This Massachusetts professor says, you're not helping. This is on masslive.com. Over the past 2 months, two major controversies over the usage of language have rippled across the state of Massachusetts. In early April, an East Hampton school committee revoked the job offer to a candidate. We gave you this story a couple of months ago, based at least in part on his use of the word ladies in an email. Later in May, the Smith College of Social Work made a proactive decision to eliminate the use of the word fields because it could have connotations to slavery.
Yeah.
Hey, I entered the field of literature.
Can't say that.
Or I was doing some field work as a social worker.
Can't say that.
I can't go out into the field because you might think of slavery.
Yep.
Now the Smith College of Social Work's Office of Field Education will be called the Office of Practicum Learning.
Practicum.
SSW core principles encourage us to center the lived and historical experiences of Black, Indigenous, and other communities of color, Smith College wrote in a statement. We recognize that language is powerful and that phrases such as going into the field or, quote, field work may hold negative associations. Although well-intentioned, this type of language policing may not be helpful, says Loretta J. Ross, a professor at Smith College. Miss Ross says, you know what, I've had enough. Quote, the meaning of words change and evolve so rapidly that no matter how critical or cynical one becomes, you can't keep up, Ross said. So I'm basically against all of this language policing because there seems to be a lot of anguish spent to achieve very little. And it can actually be very offensive and off-putting to people who aren't even trying to get into this competitive wokeness. How about that? Somebody in academia with a brain and a spine who says, you know what? Shut up.
He'll be drummed out soon.
Yeah.
Well put.
Poor Miss Ross.
Matthew Kelly on Twitter, Nick, asks you, Nick, what made you switch from political science? I personally switched after a year in Temple's program because all but one professor in the department was a progressive liberal who didn't know how to keep their political positions out of the curriculum.
Well, that's a hell of a reason to switch, and I don't blame you at all for that. I switched because I wanted to be a criminal attorney, and I was either going to be a prosecutor or a defense attorney. And I thought being a criminal justice major would be a good way to get set for the criminal justice system if I was able to go to law school.
Gotcha.
So poli-sci bored the hell out of me as a freshman, but at 18 years old, I think that bores a lot of people. So.
And then you ended up in radio.
Yeah.
So good on you.
What a career path. I'm going to write a book one day. Nobody will read it, but I won't charge $95 like Bernie Sanders. I got that going for me.
Which is nice.
To make it affordable.
That's right. 855-839-1210. The 9 o'clock hour is on the way. We'll get Dawn's Big 3 at 9. And then some hypocrisy from the CEO of eBay, a new search that's blowing up for Google, and why Gen Z prefers old school over new school. We'll tell you why when we come back. It's Kayal and Company.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Dudet Dental Group is the official dentist for the Philadelphia Eagles and would love to care for you. The Eagles trust Dr. D and his team, and you can too. From general dentistry to specialized care like dental implants, root canal therapy, and fillings, Dudet Dental Group does it all. During the off-season, take care of your biggest asset, your smile. Dudet is in network with most major dental insurances. Plus, they have preseason specials on whitening and Invisalign. Check them out at PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli, and if you want to make lifetime memories with your family, now is the time to book your summer vacation at My Happy Place, the beautiful oceanfront Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. Rooms are going fast. They have beautiful rooms, suites, and townhomes. Enjoy all the amenities of their indoor-outdoor pool. Grab some lunch, a frozen cocktail at the outdoor pool bar, beach service with chairs and umbrellas, cabanas, and food delivered right to your beach chair on the beach. The Oceanfront Grand Hotel is a wonderful place. Book your stay today, 800-257-8550 or grandhotelcapemay.com.
I can't wait for what's next. Even with higher stroke risk due to atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Eliquis, the Apixaban tablets, reduces stroke risk. It's the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without talking to your doctor, as this may increase your risk of stroke.
Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or have antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or unusual bruising, or if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. It may increase your bleeding risk if you take medicines such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Comedian Joe Conklin.
Joel as Mr. Softy.
A creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream. It comes from Mr. Softy. Melts in a biggest spot like me. They call me Mr. Softy. Almost run out of breath. Ice cream makes me tired.
See Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra, July 15th in Ocean City, New Jersey, and July 22nd in North Wildwood. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Hey folks, the spring rains we're having are definitely hard on your home. Call PJ Fitzpatrick to fix your leaky roof right now and save you thousands on costly structural damage. And they fix it all: drafty windows, overflowing gutters, rotted trim, and leaking roofs. This is the time to call the home repair experts at PJ Fitzpatrick. No job too big or too small. Visit them at trustpj.com. They'll fix it right the first time. Visit trustpj.com and stay off the ladders. Trustpj.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Kayal and Company mornings. Rich Cioli afternoons. Free speech lives here. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Kayal and Company as we continue. It is a Thursday, the 1st of June. Going to be a hot one today. 88 degrees. Tomorrow, 93-ish. Be golfing with Mike Opelka tomorrow down at his joint.
93 degrees.
Yeah.
Hot.
Sounds like a great day to drink some Bud Lights on the golf course. Now, on second thought, we'll just pick one of Anheuser-Busch's 30 other brands. Wow. What a day. We are rolling. And for those of you tracking like our buddy Sid on Twitter, we are right on pace to get through everything that I promoted on the show last night on Twitter with the pre-show tweet.
Wow.
I post it every night.
Is that a first?
It might be.
Wow.
It might be. But Sid said, you're not even going to get through half of that tomorrow. What are you talking about? At this rate, we very well could. But we might get derailed because Lorenzo brought something in here to me during the commercial break. And we'll get to Dawn's Big Three here coming up in a moment. Morning Mystery Movie Clip at 9:20. The Cut Sheet Part 2 at 9:40. And what's on tap for the Dawn Show as well. But we were talking earlier this morning about Chris Christie entering the race. He's going to be the guy that, he'll go toe-to-toe with Trump and, throw flamethrower after flamethrower, unlike DeSantis and Scott and Haley. And I made a joke, about Chris Christie, and maybe he should just do some more running in general. Well, apparently that's like the new thing now, is that everybody mocks Chris Christie for, being pleasantly plump, we'll call it. Because Lorenzo handed me this during the commercial. All the networks poking fun at Chris Christie. And it's not just Nick Kayal doing so. After it was reported that Christie's campaign would launch next Tuesday in New Hampshire, Republican operative Roger Stone tweeted, "At Chris Christie needs to run. Not for president. He just needs to run." And then we've got a few others that are taking shots at Christie. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld also took several jabs at Christie on his show on Gutfeld Wednesday, saying, quote, "Chris Christie is planning to hop into the race next week, right after he gets a clean bill of health from his trainer at SeaWorld." Oh, boy. That's not even funny. Something about this blowhole being clogged with fluffernutter. Disgusting things that they write, he continued, but some say he is presidential in that he's already the candidate most shaped like the Oval Office. And then one other, let me see here. Who's the next one? Oh, and Trump actually reshared one of them on Truth. Stone's post that we just read for you a moment ago was picked up by former President Donald Trump, who shared a screenshot of the joke on Truth Social. Trump has previously made crass jokes about his former ally's weight and posted a photo of Christie at a buffet last year. I love a good buffet, especially when you can find one of those good crab buffets for like $35 down at the shore.
Greg, do you like buffets? Greg the germaphobe?
Absolutely not. I would rather eat you-know-what than eat it, because you are eating you-know-what. Disgusting people.
Oh, man. You get one of those endless crab leg buffets? Ugh. I don't eat breakfast that day. I don't eat lunch. I go to the buffet around 5:30, and I just go for plate after plate after plate.
You're an animal.
Of crab legs.
You are an animal.
Well, think about it, though. It takes a lot of crab meat to fill up on in a crab leg for you to get your fill, right? So, you might go through 5 or 6 plates of crab legs, and it's, 500 calories. It's not much. It's a lot, and you know what, it's a lot of work too. Bruno posted that video on Miss Robbins' Twitter last week where he was cracking the crab legs and the shells to get all the crab meat out to make jumbo lump homemade crab cakes, which I'm a huge crab cake sandwich guy. You get me a truly authentic crab cake sandwich, especially from a place like our buddy Dom talks about on his show. God, there's nothing like it. And I don't want the imitation crab meat either.
No,
I want the true
Captain
meat.
Chucky's is the best.
You're damn right. But it's a lot of work to make a legit crab cake. But it's worth it. 855-839-1210. All right, we're going to get to some of these tech stories. eBay, Google, as well as Gen Z with a preference. Or I'm actually going to give Gen Z a little bit of credit. But before we get to all of that, it's 9:10, and let's get to Dawn Stensland's Big 3 at 9.
It's the Big 3 at 9 on Kayal and Company.
Big 3 at 9 on this 88-degree day. That's the high today. And, a lot of times Thursday is the new Friday. That's what everybody is saying with our hybrid work rules. That's a headline today locally in Philadelphia. Thursday's the new Friday. Not for us, though.
So is Wednesday the new Tuesday? How far back are we going to go here?
So because Thursday's the new Friday, just Jersey Shore new rules on bathrooms, beaches, and backpacks. Reminders today from officials across the Jersey Shore, especially in Ocean City, Wildwood, Sea Isle. So in Ocean City, 8 p.m. is when everybody of every age is banned from the beach. No beach stroll for a couple who rents a house or rents a place, owns a place. Nope, 8 p.m.
The sun is still up. It's still daylight.
Yeah, you can't go on the beach and take a picture of that. That's like final sun setting.
It's like being a morning radio host and going to bed while the sun's still up. Yeah. It sucks.
That is so. No, it's not just kids. It's nobody.
That's right.
Wow.
That's why they're saying, they keep saying it, and they keep saying. I think it was Wildwood's Mayor Pete, the good Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete. He said, "We mean it. We mean it. Like all these bans are going into effect." And in Ocean City, this is new this week, backpacks banned after 8 p.m. on the beach and on the boardwalk. Somebody had asked, what about a diaper bag?
Yes,
I'm not sure.
That. My wife carries a backpack as a purse now because she keeps all my son's crap in there for when, we travel.
It's banned. Public bathrooms close by 10 p.m., and that means the ones on the boardwalk. Boardwalks, plural. Plus, a new 11 p.m. curfew in Ocean City for all juveniles 17 and under. It used to be 1 a.m., now it's 11 p.m. All of this, and the Shore communities, the leadership is saying this is all because of Governor Phil Murphy and the Democrat-controlled legislature. Remember, they changed all those laws that limit. So, for example, the backpacks, it's because people are bringing the booze, which everybody used to bring, but now it's the kids.
Well, as Elon Musk said in part one of the cut sheet, the left doesn't find anything funny. They're not funny. They don't enjoy jokes. They also don't enjoy having fun. They just want to end everything. And Murphy's another one. He's just, dude, 8 o'clock, adults?
This is... So who's enforcing this? Are they going to have a spotlight on the beach?
They are. If you've been, I don't know if you've been on the if you've been to Ocean, we were last weekend, a huge police presence.
Oh my God.
Bike cops and so on. So they're just saying, sorry, you can't have. But ultimately, because of the laws that say they cannot search the juveniles, they can't question them. The police have been handcuffed. Basically, now everybody is being punished because police. And it's like here in Philadelphia with Krasner. Everybody's being punished. Why? Because police aren't allowed to do their job and just extract a few bad apples. So now this is a painting with a broad brushstroke. Do you know what I'm saying? They're trying to find loopholes.
I love how Democrats go from wanting to defund the police to, hey, let's get all available resources to beach patrol.
Yeah.
Get the people off the sand.
This is going to if you want to make the Jersey Shore a tourist destination, this is not a great way to do it.
But Greg, the crime and the problem was the teenagers got to the point where there was some violence and where that was then taking people, that was making people think twice about going on the boardwalk or bringing their kids.
That's cool.
Last summer, there were some points it was pretty bad.
I'll drive an extra hour and a half to 2 hours and I'll go to Ocean City, Maryland. I got no problem with that.
Well, I think that what they're doing here is they have the police presence. It allows the police to ultimately pick and choose. And so if they're a bunch of teenagers and they have backpacks and it's 8:15, they can say, sorry, no backpack on the beach.
Yeah.
If Stephanie Stocker has her diaper bag, they can evaluate and say, oh, there's a mom with a diaper bag. She's okay.
You mean use their discretionary judgment? Shocking.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's to me, that's what's going on.
Let the adults be adults and clean up the garbage and take out the punks. There you go.
Quickly, hundreds of people flocking to this small town in Missouri this week. Why? To see a nun a dead nun, whose body has barely decomposed since 2019.
I saw this.
Did you see this? Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster.
Yes.
And so they think it's a holy sign from God that her body barely, has decomposed.
I saw the pictures, and she kind of resembles Whoopi Goldberg from the Nun movie that Whoopi Goldberg played in.
Sister Act?
Sister Act. And I would say this, too. She looks better dead for 4 years in the ground than Joe Biden does alive.
Stop.
That's not right.
But it's, it's remarkable. She's been, and she wasn't preserved. Like, it's not like she was in one of those vaults above ground.
Or
like
formaldehyde. I guess they didn't use the traditional.
She looks like she's been dead for 2 weeks.
How do we explain it? And I'll take you to the city of Philadelphia where the game is over. So for nearly 30 years, the game piece themed called Your Move art installation has it's called Thomas Paine Plaza, just outside the Municipal Services Building, just across from City Hall. So it looks like almost like Monopoly pieces or chess pieces, a top hat and other, a rook and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, because it's so damaged and it's been so costly, mostly they say skateboarders and others have vandalized it over the years, that they're removing the installation permanently now. Okay. Game over in Philadelphia. So again, they're saying they're gonna put in a new art installation, but it's a sign of, unfortunately, it's a cherished public art installation. They're gonna remove it rather than just crack down on vandals and in part skateboarders too, but they're not going to do that. They just kept fixing it for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Gotcha.
Can't afford it.
Okay.
So that's our big three on this 88-degree day. Tomorrow when Nick Kayal goes golfing with Opelka, 93 degrees, and the weekend in the mid-70s and a lot of sunshine. That's the big three.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Morning Mystery Movie Clip coming up in a few minutes. Got a tweet from Rich who says, I wonder how this will impact businesses in and around the Jersey Shore communities with all of these curfews and restrictions. It's kind of an interesting question because, Greg, you mentioned from a tourist standpoint, how this impacts people's thought process to go there. I guess ultimately, if you love the Jersey Shore, if you don't have kids or if your kids are growing up, maybe it doesn't impact you. But I got to imagine this is going to have somewhat of an effect. I mean, I'm not a huge Jersey Shore fan, and I can't even tell you the last time I've been to the Jersey Shore. But Dawn, did you notice any difference? And I know it was Memorial Day weekend, but any different feel, vibes, population, crowds, anything different with all these restrictions?
I did notice. So the crowds with the teens, and it was Saturday night when there was some trouble, not as bad as last year. But I think they saw what happened Memorial Day weekend, and we were on the beach Sunday morning at 5 a.m. because that's kind of a tradition that we get up for this, take pictures of the sunrise.
That's when you posted that on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
saw that.
the 111th Street where they keep them, so they were allowing them to stay on the beach. They would supervise, but you have to keep moving. And so one of my sons went down there and he said it's kind of funny. The college kids it's all cliquish, but they say that you can't stand in one place. The cops just keep you moving, and because they had in past years there were 911 calls because they'll have like these crowds and then something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And the police have to, and it's a mess. So they have had issues before. So that is what prompted these new rules to just be created within the past 48 hours.
Yeah. Terrible.
So I think the effect is, and there were certain high school students that I might know of where they had Airbnbs and they all were planning to go down there and have party houses, and maybe a certain mother said, "Nope, you're not going. Absolutely not."
You have inside sources here?
Possibly can't reveal my sources.
All right.
But I'm thankful for this because I think it puts the kibosh on all these kids that think, oh, it's Ocean City, it's New Jersey, and the cops can't talk to us, the cops can't question us. Well, they figured out a way.
Okay.
So I think the chilling effect, even though the rules are for everybody, I actually think they can use their discretion. And I think the chilling effect is, you know what, kids, this is not Party Central where you can do what you want to do. That's my personal take.
I mean, what kind of kid do you have to be, either graduating high school or on summer break from college, to be? This is like in the movies where they rent like a beach house for the summer.
They all do it. That's even 15-year-olds.
And they stay there unsupervised with no parents?
Yep.
And these whoever leases it out permits that to minors? I'm surprised you could actually rent something like that as a minor.
One mom who might be a source had said absolutely not with no parent. Like one mom might have said, "What? Whose parents would let?"
Zero chance my parents would ever allow me to do that.
So then that mom was actually invited.
Oh.
Well, your mom can go. No, not happening.
Stifler's mom.
Parents have to say no. You just say no. We have to. That's my theme today. Just say no.
Just say no.
It's like Megan.
Yeah.
No. But my name is no. But seriously, parents have to be parents. Your kids are not your friend.
Yeah.
And so the problem was, and these are wealthier people, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Their kids have money. And so whether the parents own a home, they're renting a home, or whatever, these kids, but the problem is in the past, the cops could call the parents or take the kid back to, the $2 million Ocean City, home and say, your 14-year-old, hello.
Yep.
And then the other thing we noticed as well, the girls in the bikinis, and you're gonna be there, Nick, before you know it, and I feel badly for you. But these girls walking around all day and all night in the skimpy, and they're like 14, but they're a girl, but they're in a woman's body.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my daughters will be in sweatshirts and sweatpants all summer.
Yeah,
How about that?
You think, buddy.
Yeah, you cover up, right? You're not leaving the house like that.
Yeah, they're going to leave the house in that, and then they're going to go over to their friend's house and dress like you don't want them to.
Exactly.
Dad of gorgeous, not just one gorgeous daughter, twins.
What did you do in your
Double
life
trouble.
to get twin daughters?
I pissed somebody off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're getting payback for something.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Might have been the man upstairs. Might have been my wife. I don't know, my parents. I pretty much pissed everybody off.
I feel for you. I do.
Yeah. All right, 9:21. Let's get to the morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal and Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
About the work, most immediately, there's going to be some things that you're going to be able to get that other people in the office don't get. One of them, gym membership.
Hey, you want me to lose weight?
I don't want you to lose weight.
No, we can't. legally ask you to do that.
We didn't say lose weight. I might say tighten.
Tight.
A little tighter.
Just like toned and smaller.
Don't make everything smaller. I don't want to generalize that way. Tighter.
We don't want you to lose weight. We just want you to be healthy. Okay. You know, by eating less.
Think you know what it is? You call it 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
And no, that movie is not about Chris Christie, but it did come out.
That's not right.
Oh, that's all right.
It, we'll do it live.
If you got the correct answer, 855-839-1210. Caller 12 with the correct answer to that movie clip that came out 16 years ago today, June 1st, 2007. You've got yourself a 4-pack of tickets to see the Reading Phillies take on the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Yeah, the Phils going to rumble with the Ponies of Binghamton on Saturday, June 10th at First Energy Stadium in Reading, Pennsylvania. Caller 12, 855-839-1210. Get yourself a 4-pack of some minor league Red and Phils baseball. We're back after this here on Kayal & Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. It's hot weather season, but imagine your house always being cool and comfortable no matter how hot it is outside. The sad truth is 7 out of 10 homes are poorly insulated. Is yours? Here's some of the telltale signs. Is your house too hot? Does your AC have to run almost nonstop to keep it cool? Do you have different temperatures on different floors or in different rooms? Are your power bills too high? I have these exact issues, and I decided I wasn't going to just live with it, nor did I want to move to a new house. My solution? USA Premium Foam Insulation. My house became instantly comfortable and my electric bill went down substantially. It's been a wonderful, wonderful improvement to my home. If you want a cool, comfortable home with lower power bills, give USA Insulation a call at 1-800-USA-FOAM. If you call now, when they foam your walls, they'll insulate your attic for free. 1-800-USA-FOAM. Again, free attic insulation when they foam your walls. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Register for this complimentary screening at the William Penn Inn on June 6th and let Crash Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. Call 800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
40 days up to 40 pounds. Say it with me, 40 days up to 40 pounds. Visit NJDiet.com or call 855-5NJ-DIET. That's 855-5NJ-DIET. 40 days up to 40 pounds. 40 days up to 40 pounds.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm.
And a 6 RBI night.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Yeah. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today.
This is Larry Steinhaus of Investor Schooling. I am so proud to announce the continuing success of our students at Investor Schooling. You already know that at Investor Schooling, we teach real estate investing and stock options. Did you also know that we teach things about tax savings, estate planning, and business coaching as well? We teach things about money I bet you never knew. At Investor Schooling, we teach from the perspective of true experience. If you want to see what our students think about Investor Schooling, please check out the over 160 5-star Google reviews. To find out more about how you can change your financial life, go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829, and you can attend a complimentary class this Thursday at 7 p.m. Attend that class and see for yourself what Investor Schooling is all about. Go to investorschooling.com or call 866-424-2829. That's 866-424-2829. We can't wait to see you this Thursday.
Hey, this is Mike Quick. If you're in the restaurant, hospitality, or casino business and your point-of-sale system isn't helping you sell more, earn more, or work less, you need to talk to my friends at PDQ Signature Systems. PDQ has everything you need for success. PDQ POS is the fastest, easiest, and most reliable POS system available. Whether you have a single location restaurant or thousands of locations, Joe Flynn and his team will create a custom game plan that will help your business succeed. Visit PDQPOS.com.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Calling on Media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal and Company, 9:28 Thursday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can always stream us live on the free Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. What's on the cut sheet part due in 10 minutes. What's on tap for the Dawn Show and who on Twitter today, all still on the way. Also, a couple of stories we'll get to here with eBay and Google, as well as Gen Z. But I believe we have a stumped audience. Is that correct? Because I do not see a winner unless my screener is down. Do we have somebody?
I don't know. It looks like they're screening somebody.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
All right. So we might have a winner in a matter of moments. If we do, we'll bring them on and give out those Reading Phillies tickets. But in the meantime, let me get to these two stories. So how about this one? I've always loved the stories where you catch left-wingers in the act of do as I say, not as I do. And that goes to eBay CEO, and I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Pierre Omidyar, who is the billionaire founder of e-commerce site eBay, who gave nearly $2 million to defund police while funding a private security startup. These headlines.
There's irony.
There's irony, right? And we'll get into that story in a moment. We have Marlene in Philadelphia, who I believe is our morning mystery movie winner. Marlene, good morning. How are you?
All right, good. Thank you.
All right. So what movie clip did we just play for you a few minutes ago?
That was Knocked Up.
Yeah.
That is correct. Knocked Up 16 years ago today that came out. Congratulations, Marlene. You got the 4-pack of Reading Phillies tickets.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are so welcome, and we appreciate you listening and for playing the morning mystery movie clip. So nice work out of Marlene there. So back to our fraud, Mr. Omidyar, the eBay CEO. So the billionaire founder of eBay plowed money into a private security startup billed as the Uber for bodyguards. Just great. While also donating nearly $2 million to groups that advocate defunding or abolishing the police, according to a report, the story coming from the New York Post. Pierre Omidyar, whose wealth is valued by Bloomberg Billionaires Index, the BBI, at $8.91 billion as of Friday, reportedly forked over $500,000 to organizations that protested the police-involved killing of George Floyd in 2020 through his charitable group, the Omidyar Network. The two other organizations tied to him and his network, Policy Link and Democracy Fund, received $1.3 million to sponsor a website called defundpolice.org, a tool used by advocates to call for the cuts to police budgets, according to many in the media and many journalists. The network donated $300,000 to the Movement for Black Lives, an organization that describes itself as an abolition coalition who, prior to becoming an independent journalist and working in the media, worked for years as a reporter for the company called The Intercept. When we say, quote, defund and abolish the police, we mean exactly that. The Movement for Black Lives wrote, which is not to be confused with the Black Lives Matter movement. That was in one post. So you've got that story, complete hypocrisy, total fraud. eBay guy, yeah, you know what, I'm going to start up private security, all while defunding public safety, essentially what you're doing. I always love that, too. I love when these frauds get caught in all their left-wing narratives and their virtue signaling and what they say publicly, because usually the ones that are the loudest with all of that are the biggest violators of what they claim to be for in their private life behind the scenes. But
yeah, and you think about it, so he's creating something for rich people to support, to have a body card. Mm-hmm. But then for the rest of us who rely on police to protect and serve, he's for defunding them.
Right. Which is really no different than any of these left-wing politicians that want to defund the police in the inner cities while they live in the suburbs in their palatial estates with private security, cops surrounding them 24/7, and because they don't have to live in the community that they are specifically defunding police for. Which the biggest joke of all of it is when you vote for these losers, how many times we have seen that a majority of these people that live in these rough communities where you say, oh, yeah, they probably want to defund the police, are of the exact opposite belief. They sit there and say, no, we need more police. My neighborhood's terrible. I'm petrified. I don't want my kid going out after dark, getting off the bus at school, walking home from school. You have all these violent instances where it's like, they need more police presence, not less. So I thought that story was interesting.
It is.
And lastly, we're going to go from eBay to Google. And I have a theory as to why this search is coming up, and I'll get to that in a second, but I want to give you the nuts and bolts of this story. This is from The Hill. Am I gay?
Yes. Oh, no, sorry.
No, I am not. But if I was, it's not an issue. Am I gay? Related Google searches soar 1,300% over the last 19 years, says a study with analysis. Google searches related to personal sexual orientation and gender identity have skyrocketed since 2004, according to new research. The Cultural Currents Institute released an analysis that explored Google searches from 2004 up until May of 2023 that included searches for questions such as, am I gay, am I lesbian, am I trans, and how to come out, as well as searches for non-binary. The new analysis found that searches for these phrases jumped by more than 1,300% during this 19-year period. The analysis suggested that states that lean more conservative are the, quote, most closeted, with Utah leading the country in searches for am I gay, am I lesbian, and am I trans. Iowa, Indiana, West Virginia, and New Hampshire followed Utah in those searches, while Kentucky, Connecticut, Washington, and Colorado followed it for searches of am I lesbian, ? So a thought on this. I think, and I've said,
thoughts on this.
well, I want to hear all of them, so trust me. My initial thought on this is one of the reasons that I think we have seen this mental health identity breakdown that we see so frequently on TikTok, and when we post those videos and we give you those in the cut sheet, I think what over the last couple of years, specifically the last 3 years, the pandemic created a mental health crisis. And I think along the way, with this never-ending left-wing curriculum of forcing gender identity into classrooms and into everyday life, I think it's created in some people that might not have been mentally stable to begin with to have their own identity crisis. And I think the overarching theme here, and I don't think it's a cynical take to have, but I do believe that the media, the politicians, they want to divide us and they want to distract us. They also want to confuse us and have us question everything we thought that we believed to be truth and everything that we were told and our ideals. And I think a lot of that carries over to the internet, where you have people, especially in a lockdown, where, let's face it, other than being on your phone, being on Netflix, or being on a device or a smart tablet or whatever, there wasn't much to do. I think a lot of people, what will doctors always tell you to do if you think you have an ailment? Don't Google your symptoms.
Yes.
Because you'll drive yourself insane, right?
Yes.
I think a lot of that applies to this. So, Stalker, I know you said you have a lot of thoughts on this.
If you're Googling, am I gay, you ain't gay.
Yeah, it's a very great,
well put,
very entry level thought, but accurate.
You know how you know you're gay? Are you attracted to the same sex? That's how you know you're gay.
Yeah.
Am I bisexual? If you're Googling it, you ain't bisexual.
Right.
What this shows me is that gender identity has been thrust upon this society so much, people have no idea what to think. So they're like, well, everybody seems to be gay, I must be too. Everybody seems to be transsexual, I must be too. Let me put this into the Google search. All this shows me is that we are putting this priority on sexuality now that people don't know what to think. They're like, well, everybody seems to be gay, so let me type it into the Google search and see if I'm gay.
The left wants to sexualize everything.
Yeah, it's not, and
it's an obsession with your identity.
That shows you that this is being put on people not out of their own admission. Because if you're Googling things, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, hey, my shoulder hurts. Let me Google, do I have cancer? That's what a hypochondriac like me does.
Yeah.
I probably don't.
Right.
But like, yeah, cool. Let me check and see if it. So this, to your point about mental health, this also shows, the more mentally unstable among us, they're like, well, I need some sort of identity, so let me just check and see if I'm gay.
Yeah. I mean, it's to your point, it's so bizarre because am I gay? Well, let's see here. Do I get sexually aroused by being around another man or a female? If I'm a female, am I a lesbian? Do I get aroused by being around another female? If you don't, I'm assuming you're not.
Yeah.
Although we might have a TikTok post later today where some nut job goes off and says, just because you don't become aroused in front of another guy doesn't mean you're not necessarily gay. And here's how I know.
I see studies like this and it just infuriates me because they wanted to prove a point of that, there's more people coming out of the closet now. I take this as the direct opposite, is that we're force feeding this so much that people are just like, well, I don't know what this necessarily means, so let me just Google it and see what it means. Right?
Or we're forcing people to identify as what everybody already knows they are. Like, I don't know why any straight man would have pronouns in his profile. He/him.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, of course you're a he and a him. What else would you be? I'm looking right at you. I know what you are. Like, it's this advertising and this continual campaign of, I am this.
Yep.
I am a blibbity blobbity blue. I am gay. I'm Asian. I don't care what you are.
Yes.
And I can already kind of tell what you are because I have eyes and they work.
And by the way, I've said this many times that I didn't go to that big of a high school, but I do know, members of my graduating class and others around me that are gay. I don't know anyone right now who is who is transitioned, but also in 5th or 6th grade, I knew a lot of the kids, the guys who were gay. I knew that in 5th or 6th grade, just by the way they acted.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And certainly by the time you get to high school,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't think that at the time they were, because in the early 90s it wasn't. You don't want to come out like that. It is a more safe space right now for people to come out, which is a great thing.
Absolutely.
We've made huge advancements even since you and I, Nick Kayal, have been in high school. But to say that it's this overwhelming amount of kids who identify as this is just it's ridiculous.
I think there's a large contingent of people on this far left that want the numbers to be higher than what they are.
Yes.
Like
they'll find any study that shows, see, they've skyrocketed in the last few. It's just, it's ridiculous.
It is. It is. All right, that'll do it for all of the content today. We got through 95% of it. There's only 2 stories I didn't get to. So how about that, Sid? I beat your 50% threshold. Boom. All right, 9:42. Let's find out what's on the cut sheet part 2.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. Yes, Nick Hill, what's on the cut sheet part 2 on this Thursday? Twice failed gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams was on Amanpour and Company. Is everything and Company now?
What is it called?
Christiane Amanpour.
I thought you said Amanpour.
Amanpour and Company is the show on PBS. She was on. Stacey Abrams was on Tuesday. By the way, if it's Amanpour and Company, maybe we got to change the name of this show.
How does PBS land Stacey Abrams?
She's writing a novel, or she wrote a novel.
A novel idea.
So she was on to promote it, because what else is somebody who has failed twice at running for governor? What else could they possibly do? But write a novel. Well,
you're either successful in politics and then you transition to TV, or if you fail, you write a book.
She was asked, how could she write this novel while also saving the democratic process?
Democracy was at risk, so I wrote a novel.
You know, and I'm sure many people have asked you, but you are one busy woman as a public servant for so long. How do you get time to write novels?
Writing for me is just as important as anything I do. I try to balance my life.
What a journalistic question that was. How do you find the time to write these novels? I don't know. She's failed twice. What else is she going to do?
You got to fill up the hours of your day with something, right?
Oh, my God. I'm going to start this over because I just want to hear that hard-hitting question by Christiane Amanpour again.
You know, and I'm sure many people have asked you, but you are one busy woman as a public servant for so long. How do you get time to write novels?
Writing for me is just as important as anything I do. I try to balance my life so that I'm tackling the issues I care about from multiple perspectives, and writing is one of those ways. I get to think about issues, investigate them, kill off the people I don't like. Fun.
What should young people, the younger generation...
It's very violent of her.
Kill off the people you don't like.
Yeah,
and that just totally... And the lady interviewing her, it just slips her mind right there. Goes right past her. Right over her head. Tell you, man, these Democrats are diabolical. They will kill you off.
So do you want to read a novel by Stacey Abrams? If you do, it's out now.
Here's the deal. I mean, Stacey has failed in many aspects, but I'm currently seeking a writer for The Big Take. So if Stacey would like to join I'll put her on the payroll, and Stacey can write my Big Take. Now, she's not going to be able to write her left-wing stuff, but yeah, she wants to write.
You're going to ask the Tooth Fairy or something?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I got that stashed away in the budget in the back.
Yeah, budget.
Kayal and Company is hiring writers.
You're lucky we don't make you clean up at night. Nick Hell, morning show host and custodian in the evening. You played this earlier, actor James Van Der Beek. By the way, can I just take issue with something you said in the Big Take that you said that everybody knows James Van Der Beek from Varsity Blues?
Well, real men that played football do.
You think the majority of people know him and they don't know him from this? Hang on.
All right. If you're going to roast me, you got to have your audio ready.
I do. Come on. Is there more of an iconic 90s song than this?
Yeah, the song from Friends.
Wait, hang on.
No, let me just be clear. Let me just put out the disclaimer. I think both shows sucked, and I didn't watch either one of them.
So you think in the 90s, the mid-90s, you think the Friends theme was more iconic? Everybody knows the song.
Oh, yes.
You think it was more iconic than this?
Yeah. Dude,
Dawn?
Dudes didn't watch Dawson's Creek.
I didn't say they did. I'm just saying what's more iconic. Most guys I know didn't watch Friends either.
Right. As Al Bundy said, Friends, don't need them, don't want them, sure as hell don't want to watch them.
Dawn, what's more of an icon? Oh, or Seinfeld. Is Seinfeld the more iconic?
Oh, Seinfeld beats
90s?
almost everything. Yeah.
The bass, the brrrr thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Seinfeld's, I mean, I love Married with Children, but I'm not going to argue that it was better than Seinfeld. Seinfeld's number one.
Yeah, I would. Well, if
Cheers is close too.
Officially, it's Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks.
That's what I'm looking at best shows of the 90s. Twin Peaks number 1, Seinfeld number 2, Simpsons number 3, Sopranos number 4.
What is the Twin Peaks theme song?
Yeah. I thought that was a restaurant.
But the Sopranos song?
This is the Twin. I don't think I've ever watched the show.
No, me neither.
Twin Peaks. Anyway, I just took issue with you saying that everybody knows James Vanderbeek from Varsity Blues.
It was John Moxon.
Yeah,
from West Canaan to Brown University.
Anyway, he took to the Twitters or the Instagrams or one of those things and bashed the DNC for refusing to hold a Biden debated DNC debate.
Cannot get over the fact that the Democratic National Committee is saying there will not be a debate to decide the nominee for president. Are you kidding me? Over an 80-year-old man who, if he lives, will be the oldest sitting president in the history of the country. And if he doesn't live, has a vice president whose approval rating is worse than his. This guy is obviously declining mental faculties. You're putting him up in front of a podium with flashcards telling him who to call on and what the questions are going to be. And you're telling us there's no debate? What about the will of the people?
I just Googled James Vanderbeek. He's only 46.
Yeah, I mean, he was a teenager in Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, but he looks 66.
He does not. Look, he was running that day.
He looks like death.
Oh, stop.
Oh, my goodness.
He was running.
Look, JVB, come on, man.
I'm not in the James Vanderbeek fan club.
You didn't have his poster in your bedroom?
Even though I sound like it in this segment. You didn't watch Dawson's Creek?
I haven't been in Dawson's Creek. I've been up Bleeps Creek, but not Dawson.
Yeah. He's 46. I mean, good for him, right?
Well, I don't know.
Yesterday, black Chicago residents slammed the city officials over the funding for migrants. This is going on in a lot of Democrat cities, and I'm sure it's going to happen here at some point too. But they are not happy with the migrant situation that's happening right now in Chicago.
I need you all to respect this brother's position, and when it's your turn to speak, we'll do the same. Okay?
Is that Brandon Johnson?
All I'm saying is the brother gets an opportunity to talk. We call that democracy. Please continue, sir. Please continue, sir. Thank you.
All right. As I said, our immigrant and our first generation from immigrant parents who are benefiting from the blood, sweat, and tears of my ancestors who were enslaved, tortured, and promised reparations that were never received. Yet I am here to share our suffrage and my tax dollars to support those immigrants that are in need. $51 million is a lot of money. We need to match $51 million for our youth to have year-round jobs, and they don't need to go, so they will not end up in jail. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that was a train wreck of an exercise there, but I mean, my God, yeah, it's amazing. They elected this guy who's further left than Lori Lightfoot, and that city. And by the way, coming off of Memorial Day weekend, we didn't have a ton of violence in this city compared to Chicago. I mean, I think Chicago had over 41 shootings and 7 deaths Memorial Day weekend. How about you clean up the mess that you have in your own city before placating to people from other countries that are coming here? Just a thought.
By the way, a real quick side note: we're broadcasting live. We're streaming live on YouTube. Is the shirt, Nick, you have on black or brown?
It's black.
It does look brown on this. It's like, what color is the dress?
Yes, remember that exercise?
Yeah.
I always saw blue in that dress, by the way.
In the
lighting.
So the boys right now have a 3-shot up of me, you, and Dawn.
3-shot.
And it does. Your shirt does look brown in that.
Of Dawn, you and I.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway,
get it right, Stalker.
Oh, wait, Dawn, you and me.
Yeah,
they're holding up a picture of me.
I'll just say the 3 of us. I can't get that wrong.
The 3.
Just the 3 of us.
Kevin McCarthy on on the House passing the debt bill, saying that we made history. It's the biggest cut in savings Congress has ever voted for.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to make history.
Yeah, you did.
I wanted to do something no other Congress has done. That we would literally turn the ship. That for the first time in quite some time, we'd spend less than we spent the year before. Tonight, we all made history. Because this is the biggest cut and savings this Congress has ever voted for. And it's not that we're just voting for it. This is going to be law.
You know, I keep hearing a lot of people that are actually, you know, many people I think are disgusted with Kevin McCarthy and can't stand the guy, but there are some that are defending him, saying, you know, Democrats have the Senate and the Dems have the White House, and you got to keep remember it's a razor-thin margin within the House. But here's my counter to that. If Republicans were to take back the Senate and take back the White House, do you still think Kevin McCarthy, you know, when I watch him, I listen to him, and he talks about, and this was the big take on Tuesday. He continues to spin, and I get it. That's part of the gig, right? It's all about spin. He's acting like he's accomplishing a whole heck of a lot, and it doesn't sit with me. It doesn't resonate with me. I don't think it resonates with most Republicans, especially the ones that view him to be, you know, a rhino swamp creature.
Well, I don't have time to play it, but Steve Ratner at MSNBC says this debt deal favors Democrats in a big way. So,
I mean, I don't know that it doesn't go over great for Republicans. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Big debate on YouTube about the color of your shirt. Everybody's saying it's brown. It's not brown, it's black, but it does look brown in that shot.
I'm a polarizing dude. What can I say? All right, 9:53. Let's get to Dawn Stensland for some pertinent conversation, not the color of my shirt. We'll find out what's on tap in 7 minutes.
Well, just this morning, a law firm representing fallen and killed in the line of duty Temple University Police Sergeant Chris Fitzgerald survivors filing a civil lawsuit, civil action against the relatives of the accused killer, 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer. So there's the latest seeking civil justice. So we're going to have a guest talk about that this morning. Brian Hart's going to come on, talk about the lawsuit, talking about the family and loved ones of Sergeant Fitz. And this is a new trend in our area because, of course, there was that killing of the 4 young men that happened in Bucks County a few years back. And, in fact, there was a settlement with the family members who were blamed in part for the actions of an 18-year-old who was technically an adult. So it raises an interesting issue about who's responsible. So we'll look into that one, and that's coming up right at 10 o'clock.
All right, looking forward to that.
Ipso facto on YouTube says, Nick, just go back to the natural light. It did look better. You know, yesterday we had the natural light in there.
Yeah.
So
well, tomorrow the blinds will be up, and then the studio lights will be off.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not here tomorrow. So.
That's right.
Right. Oh, excuse me. Brian Hart is coming up at 11. And then 10 o'clock is Anthony Heenan of Center Square talking about Philadelphia crime and the mayoral race.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Dawn show in about 5 minutes. Let's find out who won Twitter today.
Who won Twitter?
Maeve J wins Twitter. She says James Vanderbeek has 7 kids. If you want to understand why he looks 60.
That explains why I only have 2.
Wow.
Yes.
That is not right.
And mine came buy one get one.
Do twins run in your family or your wife's?
Wife's side.
Oh, man. Yeah. Did you know that going into it?
Into
Did you know that going
into our relationship?
In high school.
On that note, Greg Stocker, he'll be out tomorrow, folks. So.
I'm not. I don't have the day off, by the way.
Right.
I'm going to some conference at Hofstra University on Long Island. So please pray for me.
Yeah, a long trip for you.
Oh God,
a Friday trip to Long Island.
The thought of just driving to Long Island tomorrow
I'd rather do 4 hours with Matt Rooney than go to Long Island. And I will be doing 4 hours with Matt Rooney tomorrow because he will be joining Dawn and myself, Anthony and Daniel, for a Friday edition of the show.
Yeah, it could either be great or a train wreck. Who knows?
It could be, yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. And you can comment on the show tomorrow on YouTube. And
tune in just to hear that.
Yeah, just to see that. So that's coming up tomorrow. The Dawn Show is coming up next. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the weather, and we'll do it again tomorrow at 6.